on the video. And if you missed another episode of SNTR Gaming News, we do these live streams Monday through Friday, and there are timestamps in the description for the various topics this morning, giving my first impressions of Sable, giving my thoughts on Death Stranding in just a second, as well as my thoughts on the Cana Bridge of Spirits patch. And when you're here for the live streams, we greatly appreciate that. But if you can't make the live streams, we do use those timestamps. And for those of you that watch later, this is an SNTR update. The Death Stranding Director's Cut debuted, finally landing and making the game significantly different and even, I would argue, better on the PS5. And many are asking the question, is it worth it to finally dive into this peculiar and very strange game? I played it on Friday for about 2.5 hours. Didn't really get any further than I had been before, but I wanted to give my thoughts on the good, the bad, and why I want to jump back in. So, when I first played Death Stranding, it was on the PC. That was sort of my first experience with it, and I decided to hold off until the Director's Cut came out on the PS5 to essentially start over, mainly because I was avoiding the PlayStation version for the performance reasons. I wanted to walk through the good, the bad, and why I'm hoping to play more with you guys this morning after playing it. So the good. Graphically, the game is now, I think, easily one of the best looking games that you can play on the PS5, and given that the PC version did not get the Director's Cut and it's just a straight port, I think this version now looks better than the PC version of Death Stranding. They went through and really upped, I think, the graphical fidelity as well as performance. The gameplay, I think, is still going to land on people differently, depending on whether or not you want to play a game like this, but I think the increase in performance with respect to FPS and the graphical fidelity certainly makes this a must-play for anyone looking for a unique and fresh experience. If you've got a PS5, you've really got to try this one, even if just to check it out and kind of relax with it. It's not very, high octane, at least not initially. The story, I think, has such a wealth of mystery and richness that I'm honestly thinking about the game even when I'm not playing it, and it has one of those storytelling approaches that I think makes it very captivating from the beginning. Now, there is things you should know about if you've never played this game before. This is obviously subjective, but I think it's very tough to get into the game when the first 2.5 hours of my gameplay was only about 20 minutes of actual gameplay. Some will say this is fine, and I mean, it probably is, but I think it makes the initial dive in extremely slow to start and may turn some players off. Oftentimes, the deal, with the story is they use very cryptic, mystery ways of telling it during the opening, and you can start to feel like, okay, can you just tell me what's going on? It can feel a little bit overdone. It can feel unnecessarily vague. Again, some will say this is a great way to set the stage, but I found it to be disorienting at times. The gameplay does have some things about it that I don't like, mainly the lack of a better tutorial for the map usage when plotting your path. Now, once you get the hang of it, it's very useful, which is why I would be a tad bit more hand-holding if I was in charge. If I was one of the developers, I would say, look, we're really going to walk you through how to set a path and how to go about it. They give you very generic information, and it's honestly kind of clunky and not very smooth. Once you figure it out, I think it really makes the gameplay better. Now, this is a minor gripe, but again, I think this would help with accessibility. So, now, why do I want to play more? I do think the good outweighs the bad. I mean, the bad I think you can live with. I think it's pretty minor. Even with the strangeness in the storytelling and the very specific and somewhat different style of gameplay, I find myself wanting to go back in. First, I want to see where the story goes. I really want some deeper explanations for what's going on. To his credit, Kojima's brilliance, I think it splashes through in really microscopic moments of brevity where the dialogue explains something very mysterious with just one sentence. I actually think he's very good at that in this game. Second, I know the gameplay has a lot more to offer than just delivering packages, but even if that was all that it offered, it's strangely relaxing and satisfying to embark on each mission, so you feel a sense of pride in doing a good job and a well-executed plan. So I can highly recommend this with some word of caution about the strangeness of the game and the gameplay being a little bit different, but overall, I think Death Stranding Director's Cut on PS5 is definitely worth checking out. If you're watching this on SNTR Gaming, the live stream's about to start. If you're watching this on SNTR Updates, hit subscribe and the bell button, and I'll see you in the next one. And I'll see you guys today. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you guys so much for being here. Jumping right into my thoughts on Death Stranding Director's Cut and giving it a pretty strong recommendation, even though we only got about 2.5 hours in. So hopefully, I actually think some people are going to just avoid it in general because it is such a bizarre game. And it is very, very slow to get started. It really, really is. So, good morning, Lono and chat. Yo, good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Christina. Good morning, Mo. King Salty. Drifter Body Pillow. Kareem. Awesome shirt. Yeah, this is from 80s Tees. Another one from there. It's a Venom shirt. The shirt command today will take you to the Marvel collection over there. Hope you and the fam had an awesome, fantastic weekend. We did. It was a little rainy on Saturday morning, so soccer for my son was just misery, but he was such a trooper. I was really proud of him. What's the brand of your chair? I don't know the brand. We worked with Smug Desk, and they sent it to me, but they don't do ongoing affiliateship, so we no longer direct people to buy it from there. We would like to work with Mavix, but Mavix is holding off on their applications or whatever. Like, they're going to be opening it up for like people to apply, which we're not in the best state to do that now. We were, 4 months ago, but we might not be able to get in with them. So I really like the high back ergonomic chairs that are mesh, and that's something that they make. So yeah, it was raining on Saturday, and my son, man, he was a trooper. He was out there no matter what. It was like he just didn't care, He's like, my hands are cold, and he just kept on playing. I was kind of surprised they didn't call it. It was like just enough rain that you could say, all right, let's keep playing. Like, it wasn't a torrential downpour, but it was the drop in temperature that made it just awful. Like, if it wouldn't have been cold, I think it would have been a lot more tolerable. Now, when we went back later for my daughter's game, the sun was shining, and they played. My daughter's team continues to play better. It's just the challenge, I think, with that age group of like 6 and 7 is there's a giant difference in skill, and then there's also just like a giant difference in care and passion. Like, some of the kids just don't care, they're just out there to do nothing. Like, they either want to play goalie or sit on the bench. I'm like, I don't understand. Don't you guys want to play? Don't you guys want to try to win? It's like usually by the day they do practice and they go right from practice to a game, and the practice is very low key, right? The practice is very low key, and so it's not like we take them through a grueling practice and then make them go play a game when they're all tired. But man, after practice, a lot of them are just out. They're checked out. What's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Been using the chair you have, and I've been enjoying it. Nice. You definitely get the kid playing with a bug in the outfield syndrome until teens. You get the kid playing with the bug in the outfield? I don't know what you mean. My daughter loves it. She's. I think next week, like we're gonna. They got one more game, and I'm gonna try and recommend to the coach, like, look, man, you got to put people in a position and leave them there the whole game. Rotating positions just keeps confusing everybody. Like, they don't know what to do. They don't like, all their instincts are wrong. So like, they'll be on offense and you move them to defense, and then they won't stay on defense because for 10 minutes they just played offense. They don't understand. So it's like, put them in a position and just leave them there and create those game instincts so that they're all game they're on defense, all game they're in center, or forward or whatever. It's so they have such a hard time, and then you make them goalie and then they don't want to touch the ball. It's like, we need a good goalie and just leave them in there the whole game, so their instincts to grab the ball are sharp. Because a lot of times you beat it into their head. You're like, don't touch the ball with your hands. And then you put them in goal, and they're like, wait, I'm allowed to touch it with my hands? Like, well, yeah, dive on it if you can, you know? It's funny to watch their little brains, like, stall up on it. They're like, and then the ball gets passed. It's like, just go for it. Go grab it. So, we've been enjoying it. The kids really like it. As a youth coach for 8 years, don't be that guy. Don't tell coach anything. You might have missed the fact that I've been coaching. I've been the assistant coach for a couple of weeks. So it's to me, everybody, it's a total volunteer thing too. So like this guy's been asking like for suggestions. He's like, I don't know what you guys think. Like he's been asking for suggestions about drills and stuff. And so me and this other guy that are friends, our families are friends. He's a Korean guy, so he's big into soccer and has been teaching his son. And we've just been so frustrated every week. It's like the kids aren't learning because you're not putting them in a position to flourish. They're just rotating all the time. So it's really challenging for them. It's like they're not flourishing in the game at all. They're just standing out there sort of like waiting for the ball to come to them. So the last 2 weeks, I've been assistant coach in helping him, and I've been like trying to do that, like literally stand behind the kid and tell them what to do, because they don't have the instinct. They just stand there. They're like, because if you don't foster that instinct, they're not going to know what to do when the ball comes. You know, they just sort of stand there. With kids that young, it's not doing good offense or defense back and forth. Let them develop. Well, that's what I mean. Like my daughter was on defense the entire game, and she started near the end of the game to do things without being told. Like, get up there, get in their way. That's the big thing we try to teach them, is kids play soccer very passively. They'll just like stand on the line and wait for the ball to come to them. I'm like, no, get up there, get it, you know, either clear it or take it or impede their route. Like, don't just let them run right in, you know, full speed. It's going to make it harder on your goalie, right? And near the end of the game, my daughter started doing it without being told. She would run up to the person and drive them out. That was the big thing. We tried to teach them, like, drive them out, drive them to the sidelines, slow down their approach. And she started doing it, and the reason she started doing it is because she was in the same position the entire game. And then they gave me a couple of the guys that were really good at offense, and they gave them to me to be on my defense, because I was kind of staying back, helping the goalie and the defense know what to do. And then the head coach, he would go forward. And he gave me a couple of the guys that had been playing offense, and they wouldn't stay back. They'd just go running forward, and I'd be like yelling. I'm like, yeah, come back. And then we got scored on the one time because the defense was just, you know, the non-existent. We had one guy that was like trying his best. He stayed back like he was supposed to. And it was like, I wasn't going to fault the kids. It's like, you can't keep changing their positions. They don't know what's going on, man, you know? And I understand why he's doing it. I think his heart's in the right place. It's like he wants every kid to have a chance to play in a position. But I'm like, I think about halfway through the season, you need to tell the kids, we're going to put you where you think you're the best. We're going to put you where we think you're the strongest so you can develop those skills. Like, after 2 games, I knew who was better at certain things. You just watch the kids and can see, you know, who's better at certain roles. And it's like, I would have immediately been like, today we're going to put you in a position and that's your position. If you're on the field, this is what you're doing, you know? Do you let them watch real games? No, they don't watch a lot of television, and I don't even think they would like watching a real game. The field is enormous and the games are slow. They wouldn't understand. Like, they would probably get excited, and then in about 10 minutes, they'd be bored out of their dadgum minds. Like, I know my kids. They would be gung-ho. Oh my gosh, like my daughter wants a soccer birthday this year. She wants her birthday to be all about soccer. And I guarantee you they'd be bored after 10 minutes. And I would be annoyed because I like watching soccer. I'd be like, oh, you got to be kidding me. This is a great game, you know? You know, you got like Ned versus Germany or something, or like Brazil facing off with somebody. Those are amazing games, you know? Yo, what's good, Sacrificer? Playing soccer as a kid, everyone would just chase the ball. My son, his age group does that. They're like 4 and 5. And my son is very naturally good. He's already scored like 1 or 2 goals. He's just naturally good at it. And so he's gentle though. If he wanted to, he could play pretty aggressive, and these younger kids, these 4-year-olds wouldn't keep up with him because he's bigger and faster because he's 5. Next year he'll bump up to the next team. So there's always that weird blend of like, there's a giant difference between a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old, right? They'd enjoy a college game. U of L used to have a decent team. That's true. They might enjoy a college game. I don't know. Like, for them, they just want to play. They just want to practice, kick, practice. So last night when I was practicing with them, I would literally just kick the ball. I'd kick the ball to my daughter and be like, you need to decide when you're going to stop it and clear it, or when you're just going to clear it when the ball's in motion. I said, because you're not an experienced player. You're going to miss if every time the ball's coming at you, you try to clear it right away. I said, that's a hard kick to land. You're going to whiff. I said, so sometimes it's better to stop it and then clear it. I said, you have to form that instinct. So sometimes I would kick it, and it would just die on the way to her. It would just go ding, 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 get real slow. And I'd be like, clear it. I was like, if you hear me yelling, clear it, that's what you need to do. She runs up and just boom, boots it. And other times I'd kick it past her kind of fast to kind of create that instinct of like, get in front of it, stop it, and then clear it. Because on the defense, the problem with her and the other defenders is they were getting better at approaching an offensive player and driving them out. But the ball would be coming and they would just stand there. It's like, no, go boot that thing. Get that out of here. I told her, I was like, you'll wear the other team out. They'll be demoralized if every time the ball comes into the zone, you are booting it out. That is so exhausting. When you got a good defender that can just predict where the ball is going and send that thing back downfield, that'll wear a team down. I'm like, that is not fun to play against. I said, but when they can keep hammering away and chiseling away, then they get energized from that. They're like, oh, we're close to scoring. I said, you will wear them down if you get good at clearing the ball. I said, especially younger players. That's just so, and then they got to run back the other way. Oh, they hate it. They hate to run, you know? I remember once when I played soccer as a kid, when I was aggressively going after the ball, next thing I remember, I was being tripped, doing a full 360 roll and blacking out. The kid who tripped me was rotated out real quick after that. Yeah, we've not had any issues with that. They don't play that hard. So. Sounds like the worst FIFA DLC ever. Right. Good morning, Christoph. How are you? So we have a variety of topics today, guys. Nothing probably going to drive tons of conversation. The gaming news is in a bit of a holding pattern. I gave my thoughts on the Death Stranding Director's Cut. I'll give you my first impressions of Sable. We played that last week. And then Kena Bridge of Spirits got a patch. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about, why I'd consider maybe jumping back in. Not anytime soon, though. Because tomorrow is all New World. I mean, we got a very, very big, but hopefully very big week ahead of us to dive in and really start creating content like I used to. So today is a bit like, I don't even know what we would call today. I didn't see anything major in gaming news to put front and center. So I was like, well, let's just talk about what we've been playing, We played Kena, Sable, and Death Stranding Director's Cut. Let's just put that on the docket. And no, I didn't get a chance to play the Halo Infinite Flight. I saw it last night. I literally was coming downstairs and they had just started the last session, and I was so tempted to record a 30-minute, but I was like, nah. I was so close to being done with work to get ready for today. I was like, I don't feel like doing that right now. I just didn't feel like it. I'm bummed that I got in and did not get a chance to play. I don't like when they do this thing where, you have to play at certain times. I don't like that. That doesn't work for me. I just want to be able to go in and kind of chill and show off everything. And I know playing against bots isn't that great, but at least you get to see the maps. That's mainly what I was interested in, and it was just, that wasn't the case. The part in Sable where the music kicks in, I've watched that part of your gameplay quite a few times over the weekend. Such a cool moment. Yeah, I was very, very intentional not to say anything. I was. I've got some good and some bad to say about that game. One of the bad things I will say is that there's not enough music, and I know why. They want the music to really hit and be really meaningful when it finally shows up, but I think it's too, oh man. I don't like that about that game. I need more music, you know. Next weekend is Big Team Battle, though. That's the week you have to play. Is flight number 2 just going to continue on, or are they going to do another one? I bet you I don't get in the next one because I didn't play. Do you know what I mean? You can do bots the whole time, PvP at certain times. Oh, I thought they made you... I thought that they said you couldn't play during certain times or something. I think I completely misunderstood this go-around. They released the soundtrack over the weekend. The music for Sable is good. It just doesn't show up enough. It doesn't. You know what I mean? You automatically get into the second week. Okay. The flight is basically now open for everyone. All right. Oh, Valheim on Friday was really, really fun. Hilly and I are definitely going to dive back into Valheim again. I think that really, really worked. Guys, give us 10 more likes. Give us our first 100 likes. So... we really, really enjoyed Valheim. It got off to a little bit of a slow start. I think the game is a little... I don't like how it's... I don't know. I think it's a little too persnickety about where you could build. I didn't like that. Like, just let me build a wall, like 4 walls and a roof, you know? Matchmaking was specific times, not bot play. Okay, I just completely misunderstood then. That's on me. I thought that you could... This time around, I thought they changed it. It was like they only wanted people playing during certain times, so that if you booted the game up before then, you couldn't really do anything. You could, like, go into the training area, like the gun range, and, like, look at the battle pass. So, I misunderstood. Yeah, Valheim, I think, has a lot of potential to be something fun for Hilly and I to do for at least a little while. You get a lot of moments just to kind of chill and just kind of sit and laugh. There were parts of it that I feel like just get stretched too far. It's like they clearly want you to make a bow and start hunting, but in order to make a bow, you need the leather from the boar, and you can't find the boar anywhere sometimes. And I'm like, I never like when that's the pain point, right? When the pain point in a game isn't the difficulty or, you know, or lack of skill, when the difficulty comes from lack of abundance, it's like, we need you to pick this berry, and you're like, okay, cool, and then you go to pick it, and 20 minutes later, you're like, I have 6 and I need 20? Like, what the frick? This is gonna take forever. I don't like when gameplay is derived from being withholding, you know what I mean? Not a big coffee drinker, but I need to order more coffee. About a bag a week. Oh, nice. Oh, we already have a coffee order this morning. 3 dark roast bags to Ganks. Yo, my man Ganks, thank you. You guys that have been ordering the coffee, seriously, thank you. People were ordering over the weekend, and my wife printed all those labels yesterday, so that coffee should be going out today. We get it to you very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. You can breed the boar? Well, not that early in the game, my man. You see what I'm saying? Listen to the context of the criticism. The context of the criticism is, we've just started, and you want us to make an arrow. I'm sorry, a bow and arrow. And in order to make a bow and arrow, I have to hunt boar, and the turnover of what I need is just so slow. It takes like a disproportionate amount of time to make a bow. I'm like, you don't need to do that. Like, you could have boar everywhere, for crying out loud. What's the difference if I'm able to make the arrow in 10 minutes instead of 30? Do you see? There's a Valheim mod called Epic Loot that adds Diablo-style loot drops for items. You should check it out. Oh, that sounds dope. Like how the workbench needs specific things to be covered. Well, and then it wouldn't let me build. Yeah. You can breed the boars right away? What? The initial grind for the boar is long. How do you breed boar right away? My daughter liked the drawing that came with the last order I put in. Oh, nice. Glad. I'm glad. There was not really any information about how to breed a boar. It was just like, go and kill is essentially what we were told to do. And I felt like everything was cruising along just fine, right? You just build a fence around them. So will you like drive into a fenced area? Yo, Gank celebrating 6 months of membership. Enjoy that joystick, man. Enjoy. Oh, man, I appreciate that. I'm so glad you guys can celebrate those. We have 3 days left in this month, and I'm really hoping we could see a bit of an uptick over here in the members. The move over here is still a little shaky, but we're hopeful. We're hopeful that we're looking at everything, and it's looking good. It's still scary as all get out. You can trap them in a pen and feed mushrooms and berries. What the what? Okay. Well, I mean, that was the only thing that I got irritated by. Like, everything else was moving along at a pretty good clip. It was like, get some trees and some rocks, make an axe. Get some this, get some that, build that. Boop, 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 boop. And then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, you need to hunt deer. It was like, hunt my kin. And I was like, there's no way we're going to efficiently hunt deer with an axe or a knife. Let's build a bow. And building the bow, it was like, this is taking a lifetime. You know what I mean? Not knowing you could repair gear hurt you. I think you threw away your first bow. I did, John. I did, because I didn't know what to do once the stuff was flashing. Like, it didn't let me do anything with it. I assumed I would keep using it, it would break. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't know. I was like, I don't understand what you want me to do with this. It's just flashing. So I was just throwing gear down. I was like, yeah, this gear's I can't use it anymore. It would just like take up a place in my inventory. So you have to use less resources to repair it, I'm assuming. And then that makes it more valuable. Yo, it's good, Gritter. Even still, just getting to the first bow, it took a minute. You know. You need feathers, and seagulls are hard to kill and find. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I don't mind if you want me to go collect something or kill something in a video game. It's totally fine. But don't have me getting 20 of them and there's like 3 in the area. So then I'm like circling, waiting for like respawns and stuff. Like, come on. You know what I mean? Instead of breeding, you can also do some scouting of the map and find where the boar spawns. Yo, it's good, Hex. Oh, repairing costs nothing? Oh my gosh. So you're just using the workbench to repair it, like a tool. Okay. Yeah, Ben, the problem with that was like scouting the area where the boar spawns. I knew where they spawned, and that's exactly what we just started doing. We would be like, all right, and we'd like run the lap, and we'd like check the areas that we knew they showed up. And I'm here to tell you, that's just not a very satisfying content loop where you're like, well, we need 6 more, and you're just waiting for them to spawn. Don't hear me out. I enjoyed my time in Valheim, but that is an offense that games pull all of the time. I'm like throwing a flag on the play. I'm like, foul on the play here. Like, come on. They did the same thing in New World. It was like, oh, go get a goat or go get a sheep. And you're like, okay. And you go to where they're supposed to be, and you're like looking around. You're like, there's nothing here. And then you're waiting for them to respawn. The second time I played New World, it happened. I needed some sheep. I go to where the sheep are. I kill 2, and there's supposed to be some in the area. I check the area. I check every square inch of the area. Nothing. Not a single. So I keep looping, and then finally the same ones respawned in the same spot. It's like, come on, what's that? Yo, it's good, Atwood. I don't know. For me, it ends up feeling like it just feels arbitrary. You know what I mean? There's a lot of map RNG with resource spawns. You can have bad luck. Right. Boars take a few in-game days to respawn. Exploring Valheim is the trick for more hide. Yeah, we just started going farther and farther away, right? We were just like, well, just go farther and farther away and we'll find some more. Yeah. Yo, it's good, Korea. That doesn't sound like a spiral staircase content loop. No, it doesn't. It's like periodic treadmills is more of what it's like. It's like, run on this treadmill for a while. Okay, well, now you can do this. Okay, now run on this treadmill for a while. Okay, well, all right, well, now you can do this over here. Okay, well, run on this treadmill for a while. And it's just like, man, oh, man. It is friggin' brutal. It is brutal. I love the Discord listening option. Great for work environments. Yeah. I remember watching you searching for a large salmon and thinking to myself, this game is not for me. Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing about that, Darth, is that wasn't even a mission. That was like a minor bounty in New World. It was like a little dinky, grab it off the wall bounty for like nothing. No experience. Nothing significant with respect to like a currency or a resource or anything. And just an hour or two of like, what the frick is going on? I actually think, and Hilly and I are probably going to end up playing New World together. We might play it this week. It'd be a shame to have to put Valheim down so quickly, but New World launches like tomorrow. Yeah, it took like an hour and a half. And the funny thing was, we didn't even get it. It took an hour and a half to get 1, and I needed like 3. And it was like, what? Why would you make it this rare? That's the thing. That to me is the issue, is that it doesn't need to be stretched like that, right? It just doesn't. Island survival sim Stranded Deep gets co-op multiplayer tomorrow. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's a PlayStation game though. Hilly would have to wrestle the PS5 from his wife. It's like ESO's resource collecting. Yeah. As you explore, build the little camps with the bed and mark them on the map so you have spawn points and places to rest. Okay. Oh, it's on PC? Okay. Well, is it getting co-op for all platforms or just for PlayStation? That one might be fun. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. We got plenty to play then. The problem is though, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you something. The problem with those games is that it quickly turns into a nightmare, and you're just like, and that's not what I want. I'd rather just chill and like build a little campsite, build a little fire, catch some food, you know. I don't need it to turn into like, you know, a super serious thing all of a sudden. If you decide to use the loot mod for Valheim, I literally installed it over the weekend. I could walk you through it. I don't know if we're going to do that, though. That's not, like, I don't know why I'm this way, right? I have no idea why I'm this way. I don't like running mods in a game because then I feel like I'm not playing the game. Does that make sense? I've always felt that way. People, oh, put a mod on. You can do this, you can do that. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I never wanted to do it with Skyrim. There was stuff like that in Borderlands 2 you could do, and I'm always like, no, I'm good. I'll just play the regular game. I don't know why I'm that way, you know? No, I'm not talking about that, Murph. I'm saying in general, I've always been this way. I've always had like an aversion to mods, and I can't figure out what it is. I don't know. I feel like I'm cheapening like the experience or something. Like this isn't what was supposed to be, you know, intended or whatever. Like having a loot crawler in a game like that is cool. You know what I mean? It looks in the mirror. Why are you like this? Yeah, I mean, having loot in a game like that, I think can be cool. But at the same time, I'm like, no, I'd rather just play the survival element of it and have, you know, and have that be the meat of what we're doing. Like, we ended the night and I felt good. I was like, we got our own little homestead here. It's not that great to look at, but it totally gets the job done, you know? You feel like you've accomplished something, you know? Okay. So I don't know. I enjoyed the Friday night stream with Hilly and Valheim. I don't know what he and I would do in New World. Maybe just go go foraging. You know what I mean? Just forage. Any plans for the city building game Timberborn this week? So sim games, I'm going through like a weird evolution as a gamer, and maybe even as a content creator, where I am suddenly really, really enjoying sim games, which I never did. Gas Station Simulator, that little potion craft sim. Did you guys watch me play that potion craft game? And then the Timberborn game looks really cool. And then like Souls games. I don't know what's going on. Like, these are 100% the games that I didn't like in the past. Like, if you ask me, like, what are the games you tend to stay away from? I'd be like, well, Dark Souls and sim games. And all of a sudden, I'm developing, like, an affinity for them. I have a whole idea of what I want to do with some different games and different series and stuff. And it's like, I'll give you an example with Ghost of Tsushima. So I would love to do a playthrough in a series of Ghost of Tsushima on Lethal, but I have just no idea when and how I would do it. You know what I mean? No idea. In the past, I would never play a game like that. You know? Who puts a fire beside a bed? I wanted him to be warm. What do you mean? You know what I mean? That house is not up to code. He was snug as a bug. I don't want to hear it. There's a home flipper game that's quite addictive. That's right. That's right. Fighting games you hate. Yeah, I don't like fighting games. That I don't know if that'll ever change. That's a different cut of cloth there. You know what I mean? Give your heart to Dark Souls. That's right. Just admit you are softening up to us before this turns into a FIFA channel. Nobody watched sim games. That's not true now. Sim games are stupidly popular. In the past, maybe nobody watched them, but I don't know. They're very popular now. Looking forward to your thoughts on Death Stranding. I already did. It's at the beginning of the stream, Russell. If you go back to like 30 seconds, I give my 4-minute thoughts on it. I give the good, the bad, and why I want to keep playing. So, it's because you played the other game for so long, things that are different are a breath of fresh air. It's been the same for me recently. I don't know. On a subconscious level, the games you used to play represent negative experiences, and so now you're attracted to games that are not associated with the negative feelings. I mean, that's possible. That's possible. I've been struggling with that lately. It comes in waves. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm doing good. Things are good. I'm optimistic, and then all of a sudden, I get so like. I zone out, and I'm like all preoccupied and angry, and I'm like, golly, what the frick? And so I watched this stand-up comic over the weekend that Radical suggested, and she is Australian, and Hannah Gadsby. I watched her stand-up called Nanette, and her insight was just... We're obviously very, very different. She grew up in like Tasmania in Australia, and she's had her own struggles and things through life that she's dealt with. But she talked about how she needed to quit comedy because the comedy was... This is not me transitioning into a quitting conversation, so just everybody freaking relax. But anyway, she's talking about how she has to quit comedy because... she was, always self-deprecating and not telling the truth about her story and not telling the truth about things that happened to her. She was using them to make people laugh, and that wasn't healthy. But then she also talks about at the end how anger can be so like toxic, and how you can unite people with laughter, and that's an amazing thing. But she said you can just as equally unite people with anger. And I thought, man, what a frickin' picture of like how dangerous content creators are. They are, I think, some of the most dangerous people in the world now. I fricking mean that. I think content creators and influencers are some of the most potentially dangerous people in existence because of the power that they wield. You can unite people with laughter, make them feel good on a Tuesday night, man, and they're walking on air the next day like, it was such a great night last night. It was so funny. They're talking about it with their friends, or they're having a good time. But they could just as equally unite people, and they have. I mean, they have. There have been moments, and I had to experience one of those moments of like uniting people with anger, and just how awful that can be. And how mindless it can be. And I was just like, man, like her insight was just brilliant. Like I really, really enjoyed her stand-up. It was like half stand-up, half sort of her being like, I gotta walk away from this. And I was like, my gosh. It was really, really, it was pretty serious. you know? But I really appreciated it. I thought her approach to comedy and telling the truth was more than brave. Like, brave sounds almost like condescending. Like, that was so brave. It was like, it was more than brave. It was like valiant. You know what I mean? Like, she went out on the battlefield and was like, this is gonna be really, really tough, but I gotta wield both of these things in this special. And I think it's very, very well done. Like, I applauded what she did and how she did it. I was like, this is freaking excellent. And I know it was insane. It had to be insanely hard, you know. What'd you take away from this that you will apply here? Well, obviously for me, there's got to be a long-term sort of releasing of the anger, which that's an ongoing process, because, you know, there are days where I look at my kids and I come this close to going on a Twitter tirade, and lighting the world on fire because they all deserve it. And then I realized that, like, that's not the path. Like, that can't be the path. And I got really frustrated with this yesterday. It was like, imagine like the paralyzing frustration of being attacked and then being talked to as if you're supposed to do the right thing. Like, what the frick? Like, what? Like, the way people talk to me about taking the right path and doing the right thing, like there's an onus on me or something. Like, what? No, I was you know what I mean? So it's just been a process, and I don't know. I try to listen to people like that who have been through their own hardships and their own challenges, and try to take inspiration, you know, from them, and think through, like, well, if they can get through it, if they can bear down and they can, you know, they can press on, then so can I. You know, and remembering that uniting a bunch of people with anger is just not the pathway. You know, it isn't. It can't be. It would be real easy. You know what I mean? It'd be real frickin' easy. You know what I mean? You blame yourself for anything that happened? No. Because that's just shame, you know, to live in regret, like regret and shame, and to blame. If there's one thing I've really latched onto, like rock solid, as of late, is like owning the idea that you are the only one that like really knows the truth about yourself and the truth about like what you're trying to be and who you're trying to be. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that my approach to all of this was the path. It was the path, right? I don't have any regrets, you know, because I think when you have things taken from you, I think it creates like a certain amount of clarity about life, you know. If you think about it in that realm, like when you lose so much, like Dave Chappelle recently, when I was rewatching all of his stuff, he says to his dad, like, I hate being poor. And he's like, poor is a frame of mind. He's like, you're not poor, you are broke. But the point is that it's a state of mind, right? And to me, it's like, essentially, all that was a breaking of finances, is all it was. None of it's true. It's all just a big illusion. It's all just a big shell game. And to me, ultimately, that they're all on short roads. It's as clear as day, right? It's as clear as day. All you got to do is check their Twitter feeds to know that there's so much unhappiness and desperation there, right? And so for me, I got a lot of clarity about myself and my family. And when Dave Chappelle said that, it kind of dawned on me. It was like, this is about a state of mind. Like, they can break the bank, but they can't break my spirit, right? They can break an image or a persona, on the internet, but they can't break me. You know what I'm saying? And so when you deny people that power, you truly do turn them into nothing. Like, you don't have to attack a person to turn them into nothing, to turn them into the dust particles that they are. Like, they're nothing to me, right? The best way to do that is to say, okay, well, money is here and gone. Like, in 100 years, finances and buildings and material things, none of that's going to matter, right? Like, so you can break my bank, you can destroy some persona or some name, some channel that I had, but if I don't let it touch me, then you lose all power over me, right? You ban me from your game. Okay, that's fine. That again is a material thing. You take a material thing from me. What it does, I think it gives a picture into how people view the world. What it means is what they prize most are these material things. They think these things are incredibly precious. They think money and standing on Twitter and being well known and being liked, or being successful in this video game or whatever, they cherish that. And those are just, they're nothing. They're meaningless. They're meaningless pieces of kindling is all they are. It's like, none of this really matters in the grand scheme of things, right? And so I want to rewrite what Chappelle said when he said, poor is a state of mind. And I want to say that being successful is a state of mind. I don't need to be making the money that I was making to be successful. I don't. My kids have a happy and a full life, and they get me on the weekends. Like, Saturday and Sundays have just been so sweet lately with soccer and friendships. And me and my son yesterday made fly traps, and he was so proud. He told people when we were out walking what we did, because the flies are getting bad. We like to eat outside, and the flies are just unbearable. So I looked up a guide on let's make some homemade fly traps, because we got the fly tape, and that kind of works, but you need something to draw them in. And number one, even if it doesn't successfully trap them, it pulls them kind of away from the picnic table. And he was so proud about that. And then, my daughter and I, we're working on, some stuff. And you understand that before everything happened? I think it's one thing to understand something intellectually, and then it's another thing to have to walk through the fire and put it to the test, right? If it's one thing to know intellectually that I don't need these things. I don't need material wealth, and then it's all taken from you, and you're like, okay, now I actually have to walk that. I have to live that. I think there's a big difference between the two. And for me, it was about it still isn't over. I wouldn't even say it's over. I would say that it's just a continual process of, you have to do self-talk. You can't let anxiety or fear or anger narrate your day. Because those voices are driven by, largely, they're either driven by fear or pride, right? So those voices that try to narrate my day, they're just driven by fear or pride. The anxiety is driven by fear of the unknown, fear of I saw somebody buy a car for their kid, and it immediately triggered me. I was like, I would be in a position to already have a fund set up for my kids to have cars, and I don't. So I immediately go into anxiety, which turns into fear. Which turns into anger. It's like, this is so unjust. This is so unfair. I shouldn't even be having to think about these things, right? And these voices are just so consistent. They're so quick to narrate your day and to disrupt. Just perusing Facebook and seeing a family buying a car for their kid turns into a moment for me. It turns into like a moment that I have to like fight to say, all right, listen, fear, we can't give into the fear and the pride, like the pride of like, oh, I wish I should be able to make all this money and provide for my family. That's just fear and pride. That's what it's driven by. That's not being driven by hope or trust or mirth or joy or happiness. It's being driven by just animal instincts, you know, of fear of survival and pride of standing, you know. And so this has just been an ongoing process for me, you know. It's like the slightest thing, and then I'm back in this sort of like trapped sense, you know. And I was telling my wife, I was like, I had a call with some friends of mine that I went to college with, and every once in a while we get on calls and we catch up. And my one friend, he's actually been a pretty pivotal person in my life. There's been just moments where he was there and said the right thing or had a good insight. And he was like, how much peace would you feel waking up in the morning if you just walked away from all of this? Because I basically outlined to them everything that had happened, because they didn't know about the ban or anything. They didn't know about that. One or two of them might have, but I had to catch them up on it. And I mean, I think he just sensed just the strain and the pain and the stress. And I told him, like, we just moved to this other channel, and you know, we're hopeful that it works. You know, and I'm looking at the numbers, thinking there's no way this is going to work long term. You know, and getting all worried. And he was like, how much peace would you feel if you just walked away from it all? And I said, I don't know. I said, because to be quite honest, I said, some of this is just that I've never had to work really hard for anything. You know, everything always came really easy. Now, I put in the time, those 5 years building the business and building everything. I put in the time. I wasn't like lazy. I wasn't like kicked back. But there's a difference between being disciplined and consistent and like working incredibly hard. Like, there's a big difference. Like, what we're doing now is like backbreaking. And I told him, I said, I think some of that is, there's just a natural instinct in me to run from something if it's hard. It's like, well, I don't want to do this. This is too hard, right? And so I was like, I don't want to walk away because we've put so much work, we put so much effort, and I wouldn't want to turn around and be like, well, I walked away because it was hard. You know, I said, we could be literally, we could be literally sitting in the early morning, like, darkness, and sunlight's just about to break. I said, we could be right around the corner from everything that we want to see happen. I said, so I don't think I could live with myself if I just suddenly was like, yep, I'm hanging it up. Like, I couldn't do that. I also really like it. I said, I think I'm good at it. I said, I think I have the gift, you know, to thrive in this environment. But I think the dilemma is that you can't exist in this environment without that being a part of the being a part of the equation. The anxiety and the fear, and also just knowing the truth about people, and knowing, you know, and hoping that one day it all comes out. So I mean, I don't know. I watched that special and I thought, this is just another thread of like truth I have to think through and process, of like, you know, you gotta release the anger, you gotta let it go, because it's like the slightest thing will throw me down into that spiral of, you know, of wanting to enact like vengeance and justice. And so one of the things I like that she said in her stand-up was that, you know, it wasn't fair to her story to just like joke about it, you know, and to not like really like tell it as it happened. So I don't know if there's room for that. I don't know if there's room for like a, you know, like a series where it wouldn't be like a vengeance tell-all, but it would just be like a tell-all of like, this is exactly what happened. This is exactly what I went through. This is exactly what I'm continuing to go through. Instead of like, the jokes that we've sold over the past months, I joke about it, or the attempt to defend myself, which in hindsight, it's like that's not even needed. That's not even needed. Defend myself against what exactly? You know what I mean? It was all a big illusion. It was a big game. It was a big magic trick. So I don't know. I would do it for me. It wouldn't be about like, oh, I'm gonna finally tell you guys about so and so and drag them. No. They can, they can live with that. That's a judgment and a justice in and of itself. I don't know. That's just where I am. Like, I like the content. I like what we're doing. I like the conversations. I like the vibe. But I don't think I'm ever going to be in a place where I can just like turn that off and not let folks kind of see into just the reality of what happened and what it did to me and my family and my wife, and long term, what it did to my kids and their future. So yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't even know how we got on this. Oh, we were talking about the stand-up comedian. Yeah. It was really good. It was a really good stand-up. It wasn't a lot of stand-up. It wasn't. It was like 30% stand-up, like 70% her kind of, doing a weird sort of like open soul movement. You know what I mean? That's why I don't like her stand-up. Comedy is meant to allow us to talk about the hard stuff in a safe way, but get people to feel uncomfortable emotions in openness. Oh, you don't like her stand-up? Well, that stand-up that she didn't even feel like a stand-up. It didn't feel like stand-up. It's been a learning process for all of us. What you went through changed my attitude about a lot of things. Thank you, Mithrax, for 3 months. We're here supporting you no matter what. Thank you. Making a joke about trauma doesn't minimize its impact. It was because she said she did it in a self-deprecating way. That's what she wanted to move away from. It wasn't about joking about it. It was about the self-deprecation. You know what I mean? So I think it's a win for you personally. It shows how bad it can be and how people misuse it. Yeah. I appreciate that, Jaretol. You've always got back up and are always moving forward. That's just, there's a part of this that like I never even like there's like a pressure that I didn't expect to come from any of this, and it's that like people are looking to me as like this, you got back up, it's inspirational, and Phoenix rising from the ashes and all that. I'm like, man, oh man, I don't feel like that at all. Like, I don't feel like I've been inspirational. I feel like I've been a freaking mess. Like, I feel like a hot mess. I think you've handled this about as well as you can. Just remember, there's a fine line between learning from events and letting them define you. Well, yeah, and I think that's part of it, is like when she said that, when she talked about the anger, I realized that I was letting these just truly terrible people define my internal reality, like giving them power. You know how they say, like, living rent free in your head or whatever. It's like, well, when you destroy a person's life and livelihood, it's going to be really hard for them to not think about you and want to go Batman on you. But at the same time, it's like you have to get to a place where you just let it go and say, Well, it's not even, and see, that's the other thing, is like, you don't get to a place where you let it go. Like, that's ridiculous. You have to almost daily say, no, yeah, they're not worthy of my anger. They're nothing. They're not worthy of my, my anxiety and my fear. Like, they're unworthy of those things, because I want my life and my emotional state and my mental state to be defined by things that are true and not defined by scum. And so you have to do that. You have to, like, put them in their proper place and be like, they're trash. You cannot let them define you. And this applies in so many ways, because in your day-to-day life, that's going to happen. There are going to be people that do that. There are going to be people who hurt you or try to hurt you or whatever, and you just have to put them where they belong, and that's on a street corner for the trash man to pick up, Because if not, you're giving lesser beings power over your emotional state, Batman with your height, more like Robin. And so it's not even like a point where I don't think you do, I don't even think you do, like, there's not like a moment where you let go, right? I think sometimes that's like the mental health journey lie that always gets told in stories of triumph. It's like, and there was just this one day that I just decided to let it all go. That's not true. Almost, I would argue that there was a turning point, but them letting it go probably took months or years. There'd be days where they'd be paralyzed by it or overrun by it, and they'd have to, like, start over. All right, come on, we can't believe these things. We can't, wallow in these things. I think I heard this from you. It's helped me with dealing with my own issues. Resentment or wanting revenge on someone else is only poison. Yeah. It's like you drinking poison and hoping it hurts the other person. Isn't being inspirational having emotions and life events that ground you in reality, making you more personal and relatable? Because that's what a lot of us see in you. Well, and I just, I don't, there's just elements of that I just don't like. It's like, I don't want to be an inspiration, I don't like the pressure that puts on me, Like, suddenly there's, like, an impetus on me to be, like, some symbol or something. I don't want that. All I've ever wanted, I remember there was a DM, I even had a DM with one of the guys that helped this all happen. I was like, I just want to coexist, man. I'm just trying to provide for my family. You know what I mean? You can let go of the anger, but not let go of the lesson, and when the time comes, you can act appropriately. Right. Yeah. I mean, I think this all came to me because the weekend was just so good. I was like, man, it's just so good just to hang out with the fam and just to have a really good time with them. And then I watched this special, and I was like, she was in this position where she said, I'm doing something that is damaging to myself and damaging to her story, and she had to just completely adjust the way that she thought about it and talked about it. And I was like, I think that's a really important thing to hear right now. It's like, okay, like, taking time off on the weekends has been so huge for me, because I just get to spend time with the kiddos, get to spend time with the wife, Martin, talk with your hands a little bit more than usual. Oh, okay, yeah. And so, I mean, more and more whenever I'm spending time with the family, like on the weekends, as opposed to during the week in the evening, like I get off work and it's like dinner, and then we go on a walk and read, bedtime, boom, and like the weekends are all for them. And so I'm always trying to think through you know, ways to spend that time with them and ways to make it really, really meaningful and ways to make it important. And one of the challenges is like being present when you've got like this hurricane of chaos over here that you have to take care of. You feel like, oh, the business. And then there's an internal hurricane of disorder, you know, day to day having to like reorder myself to say, I'm not gonna buy into that. I'm not gonna fall into that pattern. I'm not gonna believe that lie, or I'm not gonna be driven by fear or pride. And so I don't know. It was just I think it was like a really, really good message and something that I needed to hear from somebody who's had a completely different life and a completely different background. I mean, you couldn't get more different at all. We may wear the same glasses. That's about it. And just the way she told her story, you know. Self-imposed impetus would negate what you offer. You become an inspiration for being real. The inspiration thing works because we can see the struggle. It's not that you have this handled, it's that you don't have it handled, but you keep trying. Right, and I think that's ultimately one of the I think that's one of the hardest parts, is that it's one thing to like work really, really hard on like a project, and you're like, let's see how the project goes. But when you feel like you are the project, it's so difficult to divorce those two, so that when it's not going well, I feel like that's almost like I get pulled into that judgment, you know? It's like, well, it's not going well, you know, and then that's me not doing well, and then I'm not doing well, and then, you know, it creates this weird sort of unhealthy pattern of hopefulness and then despair, and then hopefulness and then despair, and then hopefulness and then despair. It's like, we're hopeful, we've made some changes, we've got some really good ideas, and we think this is going to go well, and then it just kind of doesn't, and then despair, like, what are we going to do? And then hopeful, oh, we got this new game and this new opportunity, and then despair because it just doesn't deliver what we need. And what I told my friend on the call was, I said, some of this is just me. I need to like just stop having a pity party and just do the work, right? Just like dig in, get up, do the work, you know, quit feeling sorry for yourself, and it'll never go back to the way it was. It'll never, you know what I mean? There's not a court case big enough to get back what was taken. This just isn't possible. It's a fantasy land, right? This isn't some Disney movie where like someone's gonna wave a wand and they're gonna get what they deserve and I'm gonna get back what I deserve. Like that's gonna happen, right? We don't live in that. We don't live in that reality. And so, you know, just dig in and do the work, you know, and own my part in it. Like, okay, man, you gotta work. You gotta work hard, and you gotta release these things that aren't a part of that. You know, release these people, you know, to the ether. They're nothing. I gotta stop, like, you know, checking to see if like, oh, is anybody saying anything? Is anybody talking about? Who cares? You know, they're nothing. And that's not like a condescending, arrogant thing to say. You know, for me and for my journey, they're nothing. They're meaningless. You know, they have their own value and they have their own meaning to other people, right? They have their own lives that they have to live. But for me and my journey, they don't exist. Like, they can't, you know. Once the paper is crumbled, it can never be perfect, but we can get new paper. That's right. So, yeah, that's a strange opening hour. You understand your reactions and feelings are totally reasonable. They're normal reactions to trauma, not failings. Yeah, and there's a weird part of me that wish people could see that, Zubair, that people, you know, like if you want to like psychoanalyze me, you know what I mean, break it all down, like, man, this guy's not acting. Like this was a trauma. This is not the guy that you guys claimed he was. He's not some monster. I think that would be nice. I think that would be nice for some form of a public, you know, recognition to be made, but it just, the public doesn't care, you know. That again is pining after something that is meaningless. It's vanity, you know. The approval of the mob is as tenuous, you know, as anything. They'll go from approving you and loving you to, you know, burning your village down, you know. It's not something that I can desire, and it's not something that has any indication or measure of my value, you know. I'm not ready to say you aren't a monster. You like Souls games. Is it the public or that community? That's a good word. That's a good word, Ashen, because it is just that community. Unfortunately, people outside that community were heavily influenced by everything that happened, so a lot of those people have just written me off, which, again, I can't pine after that, you know? I can't pine after that. Can I get a free PS5? I don't understand. Have you tried this in other places, and has it worked? Well, obviously not, because you're continuing to ask in here. I appreciate you sharing that, Misery. I'm thoroughly enjoying Kana, such an awesome game. Yeah, so they updated they're making the parrying easier, which I thought was a really weird way for them to say we're fixing an input lag problem, you know? I don't know. It didn't seem like they were admitting there was a problem. They were like, oh, we're just making it easier. It's like, okay, I don't need the parrying to be easier, right? I don't need it to be easier. I need it to work. Like, you know what I mean? I'm pushing the button and it's not doing it, you know? If you're talking about what happened, emphasizing to get your mind checked, I went to see a psychiatrist. I had to deal with a lot from the passing of my mom and what did happen all that time. Well, and I you know, I needed to hear this today. Got my own demons I'm wrestling with. Well, I that's why I think sometimes, like, you know, there's always a part of me that feels like I'm not doing the right thing because like there's an element of there's an element of like meaninglessness to what I'm doing, and I think that makes it really difficult to feel a sense of like a sense of satisfaction from it, and that's why, like, when I came back from Ohio, I was like, oh, I need to start this personal channel, you know, and go in another direction with my, you know, my content or whatever. But at the same time, it's like I can't do that. You know what I mean? I can't find any widespread or common complaints with input lag. Really? I've been trying since you first mentioned it. I mean, I was literally the other day putting it on display, right? I would have my character stand there. I wouldn't be moving, and I would only focus on parrying, and she just wouldn't do it. I couldn't make heads or tails of it. Now, it could be a controller thing. Both my controllers are doing it. So it could be a controller thing. It could be a me thing, which, I'll be honest, I played a lot of Ghost and a lot of Dark Souls. I would argue I'm pretty good at these kind of games. I'm not a scrub, right? I'm not a scrub when it comes to these games. So it's hard to be like, oh, it was definitely me. It's like there was clearly something happening where like the input wasn't doing anything. She just stands there. It's not like the shield starts to come out and then I did it too late and get hit. Or I dodged a little bit too late and I get hit. She literally just stands there. Like that's all she does. She's just like, it's like, again, it's like there's no inputs going in. It doesn't, I can't make heads or tails of it. Pretty sure it was user error rather than input lag, if I'm being honest. Well, I mean, I'm holding the controller. I don't really, I like you distorted, but I don't really care what you think. You're not holding the controller. I don't care what audience members think doesn't matter to me. I know when I'm pressing a button and nothing's happened. I know. I'm like, I'm not making this up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm playing Dark Souls, man. I beat Pontiff Sullivan the other day. Like, I know when I'm making a mistake and when the button ain't doing anything. Like, there's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? They 100% changed the parry window in 1.006. Here's what I want to know. Is it one of those things where if you don't time the parry properly, they just determine you missed it and hit you? So you don't get like half of an animation. Do you know what I'm saying? What's happening to me as well, it's input lag. It's definitely input lag. I've heard those issues with the game. That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, it's like it's like I'm not even pressing the button. Do you see what I'm saying? Is that what they do? Do they do that? Like, is it like a predetermined thing? They're like, here's the parry window. And if you miss the parry window, then she just stands there. It's like, no, you missed the window. Wham! And you get clobbered. And you're like, wait, I didn't even do anything. You may never get the animation if you miss the window. But the attacks were so big. It was like the guy would come up and he would swing and I'd hit parry like here. And like, nothing happens. She just stands there. There are games that work that way. If you time an attack wrong, it won't parry at all. It's not even about missing the window. She literally doesn't do anything. Dodge. If I miss the dodge window, there were times where I'm like, she didn't, like, there were times where I would roll and I would be like, I rolled late. I would own it. I'm like, I missed the window. I would dodge late and I would get hit. She'd go to roll. She'd be like halfway through the animation and she'd get clobbered. I'm like, well, that was on me. They don't give you iframes. You have to literally dodge out of the way. Okay. There were other times where I would press dodge and she would literally just stand there. She'd make no effort to dodge. She'd make no effort to move. It's like, what? It's like, it's literally like I didn't press the button. Can you do the parry animation outside of the fight? Well, this is what I think is going on, Arch Enigma. This is why I think it's an internal problem with the game, okay? She does an animation where she, like, puts out her hands and, like, a ball comes up, okay? And that is blocking. If you properly time that block, she does a parry. And the parry goes into, like, a miniature quick-time event animation, where instead of doing that animation, she, like, stuns them in the chest, and they get knocked back, and then she gets to attack. So if you want my honest opinion, I feel like there's something going on at like an animation handoff level, right? It's like you miss the parry window, and instead of getting credit for a decent block or a mediocre block, it's like, nah, you didn't do anything. Because it's like the game was like, nope, missed parry window, no parry animation, but then you don't even get a block. You don't even get credit for a block. Does that make sense? No, I know, Eugene, I know. In the patch notes, they said the parry counterattack is now easier to perform. However, I had similar experiences with just basic dodging. I would not press anything. She would be standing there. I would see the attack coming. I would press dodge, and she wouldn't move. She doesn't start the dodge. She doesn't get caught in the middle of it. She just stands there. It's again, it's odd. It's like I didn't press the button. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just parrying. There is a weird input thing that happens in that game. I cannot explain it to you. I can't. Sometimes I'll be playing Dark Souls, or sometimes I'll be playing something and I'll be like, oh, I hit the button, whatever, disagree. I felt like I was saying that every 30 seconds in that game. I'm like, I pressed the button and nothing happened. She's just standing there. You know? What happens when you just hit the parry button standing still, no enemies around? The shield comes up. Yeah, the shield comes up. And I showed people on stream. I'd be like, zit-zoom, zit-zoom, zit-zoom. Like, I can just pull it up as much as I want and as fast as I want. Boom, 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 boom. The shield's like up, down, up, down, up, down. I'm like, look how fast it comes out. There's no cooldown. There's nothing. She just wham, 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 wham. You can spam it. And then in the heat of battle, the enemy comes in swinging. I hit the button well before the attack hits me, and she just frickin' stands there. What? What just happened? There are recovery frames where you cannot do anything, even though visually the animation is done. Master Ty, that was the most insane part about it. There were times where I would walk up to him and I would not press anything. I was like, I'm not pressing anything. I'm waiting. I'd go to do the parry. Nothing. Nothing. She just stands there. Yo, what's good, Snow? People are complaining online saying the fight for corrupted Taro is a huge spike in difficulty. That was the fight where I totally lost my cool. Yeah. That was the one where the button not doing anything was absolutely eviscerating my sense of power. If the animation only happened at the right time, then you would think it'd be only a window issue. But I have to be of the opinion something technical is going wrong. Yeah, I wish I could literally put the controller in your hands and let you experience it, because you'd be like, oh yeah, something's not right. I had to lower the difficulty after that. It's like the game registers the interaction, but the video hasn't caught up yet. Something similar happens when I play World of Warships. You can be hammering the trigger, and your guns will never fire, and it always seems to be the case when you are about to die. Yeah, it's almost like I said, it's like the game has determined you missed the parry window, so then you don't even get credit for a block. Surprised I can't find anything about it, especially in the subreddit. I had people in here telling me they were seeing complaints from streamers, and they were seeing tweets and posts about the input lag issues. Aim the cam so we can see the controller. I know this sounds weird. I mean, I could always hold it up so you could see my little thumb moving, but even then, there's going to be a slight amount of latency between the capture card and my controller and what you're seeing, so that wouldn't even be a good scientific study. Half the audience would be like, no, you missed the window. Other half of the audience would be like, oh yeah, something's wrong. Like, that would be so inconclusive. It wouldn't get us anywhere. No, it's not a PS5 roguelike. It's called Kena Bridge of Spirits. Yeah. For the record, I believe you, but it's funnier if I pretend I don't. Get good, scrub. Yeah, like, 1 or 2 times in a fight, if I say that, like, oh, I disagree, right? I disagree. You know, because we do that, right? You get caught up in the moment, and you think you pressed the button, but you didn't, right? This is literally happening, like, constantly throughout the fight. Constantly. Yeah, there's a ghost in the machine. That's right. There's a single GameFAQ user thread. Use the controller overlays that speedrunners use. Yeah, I don't think I have anything like that. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I get to a point where I don't even know if I get to a point. I've never felt the need to prove anything. I know when something's not working right. I know. Like, It'd be one thing if, like, this was my first rodeo in really challenging combat, and you'd be like, well, Lono, you're just not used to it. The parry windows are pretty challenging. Come on. Like, I've played some pretty challenging duels in Ghost of Tsushima. I've gotten pretty far in Dark Souls 3. I've played Salt and Sanctuary. I've played, I'm trying to think of some of these other games. I played Jedi Fallen Order with the difficulty turned way up. I've played my fair share of melee-driven combat where there's dodging, blocking, and parrying. And I'm telling you right now, there is something odd that happens in Kane and Bridge of Spirits. The worry would be that a lot of people have just turned down the difficulty. I bet you a lot of the reviewers did that. They just turned down the difficulty. They're like, frick this. I got to get my review written, How's the switch to gaming gone for you? We don't know yet. I'll tell you on October the 1st. It looks fine, but the concern is that Presents, the main channel, we need people to continue to help over there. Watch the premieres, show up for the streams, keep your memberships going. And YouTube's already made some good advancements now. You can celebrate your memberships over here. Like, that's really helpful. We basically have 3 days left in this month to really hopefully push the needle in a good direction so that I can stop panicking and just start sitting down and doing the show every day. People are calling it input lag on the sub. They're not calling it input lag on the sub. They're just saying the parry is struggling. The complaints are there. Yeah, I mean, Eugene, it sounds to me like Barrier's saying that most people are complaining about parry, which maybe that's why they just said, we'll make parrying easier, And I think people are misdiagnosing the problem. I don't think the problem was that the parry window is the problem. I think there's some kind of there's some sort of a malfunction in the game. There is something I think amiss. You know what I mean? Only kind of compliment I'm comfortable giving Lono. That's right. Well, we've already sold one bag of coffee today, guys. We will be working on making that storefront. We're trying to clean that storefront up a little bit. If you're new and you haven't hit subscribe, you have to hit subscribe to talk in the chat. Slam the like button. All the commands down here, ways to support me. The shirt I'm wearing is from 80s Tees. Be sure to use my code over there. The disc plates in the back. We'll have new disc plates this Wednesday, so you should get to see those Thursday. Very excited about that. I have them looking into getting some Returnal disc plates. They're sending me some Deathloop disc plates, which is unfortunate because we put that game down. However, still a dope game and still dope artwork. And the coffee orders. Get your coffee orders in. Coffee Command, all of that. Rolling out a new version of the storefront tonight. Okay, cool. Yeah, with New World and lots of new eyeballs, I think... If I remember right, Creature, I think one of the reasons that the storefront looks kind of funky is you did a bunch of stuff for me because I would put the rundown on screen and I was running that dark mode whatever extension, and I think you made adjustments to the website for me that we don't need anymore. I think that's why some of those boxes look funky. I think it's my in a roundabout way, it's my fault. Input lag would be a completely different issue. It would show up on dodges, attacks, movements, everything. Well, Eugene, it does. It does. There are times where I run up to the enemy and I go to hold down the trigger to do a move and she just stands there and I have to reinitialize the attempt. That actually does happen to me in the game. Yes, it's not just blocking and dodging. I got my mom and sister hooked on the light roast. Yeah, dude. Send them to ragelessroast.com. It's my fault. Just never went back and removed it. I mean, we've been spinning 1,800 different plates. You know what I'm saying? Certain things just fall by the wayside. I forgot to mention 2 shirts I ordered from ADC's using you. I got my bro one for his birthday. One of the best things y'all can do is if, like, you have friends and family members that drink coffee or order cool shirts, just send them to ragelessroast.com or be like, hey, go to ADCs and use this guy's code. You get like 30% off. That would be awesome. Because we're definitely we're rebuilding, so we're not getting quite the, you know what I'm saying? We're not getting quite that reach anymore. And so that'll come with time, you know. Risik with a $5 tip. Get the coffee orders in so Lono can eat lunch. That's right. To be clear, I'm not saying it's not happening to you, but there aren't widespread reports or complaints. I gotta wonder, Eugene, if there is something about that game type, how many people are going in and just setting it to easy and not running into this. They're just not catching it. You know what I mean? Calling it input lag would be under the assumption it's not working as they intended, the designer intended to be. Well, right, but it doesn't make any sense. It's not like I have a stamina bar and I'm trying to do something when my stamina bar is depleted. It's not like I'm trying to do animation canceling and getting angry because it's not working. I understand that there is no animation canceling in the game. So I'm not like swing and being like, oh, I couldn't parry or dodge. This game's bullcrap. I'm freaking standing still and she's not doing anything. I'm running up to the enemy and she's not doing anything. I have to like reinitialize the trigger pull, you know? It could be changing because people didn't like it, not necessarily because they consider it not working correctly. Or they could be saying that they're making parrying easier and they're not attacking the real problem. You know what I mean? I've heard it happen to friends who have the game. You have to be looking for it. I also wonder the type of people that buy this kind of game, are they coming from a game like Tsushima Dark Souls or Jedi Fallen Order, right? Are they kind of just looking for like a fun action adventure game and, you know, maybe they're not sharp enough. Yeah. Maybe they're not catching it, you know? The PS5 controller is always on Bluetooth. You could have some level of interference there. Huh. I never considered that. You need to play the game to notice lag. Yeah. People might be sophisticated enough to know what's happening. Yeah, maybe. I think I did turn Bluetooth on in this computer a while ago because it was in the living room. No, Bluetooth is off here. Let me check the streaming rig. Because the streaming rig was a gaming... No, Bluetooth off. I have Bluetooth off on both computers. So what else would be causing interference? Can the PS5 controller run wired? Yeah, it's usually plugged in. That's the thing. That's the crazy thing. I think when you plug it in, though, it just charges it. I don't think it uses the USB. Right? You'd have to have a lot of Bluetooth devices to cause that sort of an issue. My phone? I mean, yeah, I'll do it right now. I'll turn Bluetooth off on the phone. And, you know, I can't test it right now. Problem was definitely there on release. Not sure how it is after the patch because Sable's been live. Right. Barrier's saying, I played on the PS4 and had the same parry problems. Your phone being too close to your controller can make it bug out. If it's not happening for other games, then it's also on the games level. But what games have I played on PS5 where I would notice this? I've not. Wait. There were times in Returnal that would happen. I felt like there were times in Returnal. It could be interference. It's hard in Returnal because so much of what you're doing in Returnal is very separated. You're not in a melee like, oh my gosh, I need to parry right now, right? But I feel like in Returnal, if she was just not dodging, I would notice it. I freaking beat the game the other day. You know what I mean? Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, I would definitely notice it. And I'm very good in Ghost of Tsushima. I'm running people over in duels now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's an interference thing, because I think in Returnal and Ghost of Tsushima, I would notice it. Those are two games where if stuff wasn't working right, I would pick up on that, you know? I would. It's hard to know. It's really hard to know. You have to dodge on a frame level so you would notice in Returnal. Yeah, you gotta like literally dodge like through the crap. Dude, I'm getting my hair cut this week. I am so annoyed. It was supposed to be cut like a week ago. I got friggin' bumped. Ghost is extremely forgiving. Right, but if the controller just wasn't doing it, Eugene, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about the parry window. I'm talking about like if buttons just randomly weren't working because of interference, I would notice that. I'd be in Ghost of Tsushima and be like, what the frick? I pressed the button, nothing happened. Same thing in Returnal, right? Like, I'd go to dodge and she'd just stand there. I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Have your wife cut your hair like I do. She actually does a fantastic job. Homie, I love my wife, but I pay good money for a good haircut. I'm on-camera talent. I can't be having my wife, you know, trying it out. You know? Now let's see how this goes. I'm going to concede on this particular thing. It's likely a game design issue, not just him needing to get good. Yeah, like, I don't think, like, I think I can adapt on the fly and play, you know, reasonably well, you know, depending on the, you know, every game's a little bit different, you know, you know, I love Snow to death, but my hair only gets touched by a pro. Yeah, I'm not about to sit down on stream after my wife, like, gave it a go. You know, she took a shot, you know. I had the same problem. Bluetooth is actually faster than USB Type-C. I tried and finished Sekiro and had no input problem. Oh, so Philip is saying, okay. Philip is saying, I played Sekiro no problem, but you had the input problem in Kana. It's so not consistent. It's hard to produce. You know what I mean? I think they read it while you wait. What? Be a cold day before I let Tommy near my hair. That's what I'm saying. Oh, before he lets you near his hair. There we go. There you go. Hey, a bag of dark roast to Captain Toasty Buns. That's what I like to see. 2 coffee orders already. Let's go. Let's keep those coffee orders going. Let's keep those memberships coming in. We would love to see the memberships in here continue to go up. How can a wireless protocol be faster than a wired protocol? Yeah, I have no idea. It's not about speed. Yeah, I don't think it's about speed. I think it's about something ain't working right. You know what I mean? Sorry, chat, mixing up my text and my chat feed. I was like, what is happening? Did you have it in performance mode? Ew. Did I have what in performance mode? Is it possible for Bluetooth to be faster than a USB-C plug-in? Yeah, I don't know. Like, Eugene's saying it can be faster, but you can have signal loss and dropped info. The PlayStation controller Bluetooth is the fastest protocol. It's been tested. Oh, the game? I think I always put my games on, did I do that? I did that with Godfall. I did it with Godfall. I did a, I might have done it with Kena as well, because they didn't, I'm trying to think. There was performance, and then there was some mode that was supposed to be, it was supposed to have cool lighting and 60 FPS, and it was like immediately jittery. You know what I mean? It was super noticeable. was like immediately jittery. I was like, yeah, something's off. Something's off here. So I don't know. I had the same experience with Godfall. It's like the PS5 should be able to run Godfall with like the, you know, the spicy, extra cool stuff and maintain 60, and it wasn't. It wasn't able to. My Logitech on Bluetooth is faster than a wired mouse. That's crazy to think about. You have to set it to USB in the settings. It's usually quality versus performance, with performance prioritizing frames. Well, what they've been doing is they had quality, they had performance, and then they had like the ray trace. They had like the ray trace. And it was like, I'm not going to run ray trace because ray tracing is 30. And then there's performance. And then the quality was supposed to maintain 60, and it didn't. I took like one quick spin, and I was like, what the frick? It was like immediately jittery. You know? People are saying performance mode is fixing it for them. I put it on performance mode almost immediately because I could tell. I was like, this is not running well on the quality setting. Bluetooth is faster than USB Type-C on the PS5. The difference is minuscule, but it is. Kana definitely has some input lag going on. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, it's like there's multiple instances where it happens, okay? There are times where I run up to the enemy and I hold down right trigger so I can do the big hammer, and she runs up to the enemy and she just frickin' stands there. It's like I haven't hit the right trigger. There are times where I'm standing perfectly still and I try to dodge and she doesn't do anything. There are times where I'm standing perfectly still and I try to parry and she doesn't do anything. It's not like it's late or early or like I get halfway through it. It is nothing. Like she literally just stands there. So I don't know. Kennedy definitely. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. And it's not like input lag where like input lag a lot of the times I think we're using the wrong term, because input lag would be like I hit it and then she does it way later than I needed her to. This is like the input doesn't register. Do you understand? Input lag would be like, oh, I hit, what's going on? Like I hit well before that, and then it comes out, you know, really late. You know what I mean? Are you up for more Valheim on Friday? I'll grind a little, no bosses, just materials. I liked it, but you're the boss. Well, we have to make a decision, Hilly, between New World and Valheim. I feel like Valheim can be like our fallback Friday night, because we could play that game for frickin' ever. But I wonder if we should strike while the iron's hot on New World and try to have something like a really fun night for people, because that game's going to be kind of hot this week. You know what I mean? Like if you're playing, the problem for you, Hilly, is going to be for New World. You're going to have to play on an American Eastern server if we want to get anything done. Or we could just have total throwaway character. I don't know. We'll have to brainstorm about that. We'd be playing New World at launch or not until the afternoon. We may cut the talk show short a little bit tomorrow. Do like a 2-hour show instead of 3. You know what I mean? Yep, agree New World, but always use Valheim as plan B. Yeah, Valheim was like so enjoyable. I was so surprised. You weren't here this morning when I was kind of talking about it, or maybe you were and you weren't typing in chat. I said, Hilly, our only issue was it slowed down a little bit too much when we needed the boar. Other than that, it was freaking perfect. You know what I mean? We have to pick a server today, so that question will be answered. Yeah, we got to pick a server. Yeah, so that everybody can end up in the same place, right? I had a lot of fun watching you play Valheim with Hilly. Yeah, it was a really, really good time. I'm going to be playing some New World after work tomorrow for sure. Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to cut the talk show in the morning. If you guys are just now tuning in, we've been talking about Sable, my first impressions of Sable. I actually haven't gone into that. Kena Bridge of Spirits and some of the input issues I was having. And then I gave my thoughts on Death Stranding Director's Cut at the very beginning of the show. If you can change region, I will. I don't think you can change region, Hilly. You are literally going to have a character that is basically on a server to play with me. You can't change regions. Sadly, I won't have a PC to play with y'all. I miss the sense of wonder from a new MMO. Oh yeah, it's a bummer it's not landing on consoles. I bet you they're gonna pull a Black Desert Online, and like New World will come to consoles like a year and a half later or something. You know what I mean? So there's a good deal of other streamers are going to, if you're going to want to avoid their servers, there are good resources for that. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to want to go on streamer servers because they're just going to be overrun with people. There's going to be people trying to stream snipe them. I mean, okay, they're gonna invite that more than likely. You know what I mean? They're gonna love it. That's going to be some people's bread and butter. Is literally like, come stream snipe me. You know what I'm saying? Apparently they added wired functionality to the DualSense. Oh, really? Huh. Short version of the Death Stranding take. The good, the bad, and ultimately why I want to play more. I'm going to play more this afternoon. The good is it's graphically one of the best looking PS5 games that you can play right now. It looks better than the PC version. The bad, it's tough to get into. It's about a 2-hour opener before things really let you loose. We literally are going to be doing that today, like playing the game once it kind of lets you loose. Very, very different, very odd, so it's not a super accessible or even sort of clear game. But ultimately, I think the good outweighs the bad, and it's definitely worth playing. One of the most unique, most beautiful games out there. Not sure how it works, but whatever we need to do, you can have more than one. Yeah, you can have more than one character, Hilly. So you can literally just have like a dumpy, frumpy guy for Friday nights. Like, we're not going to do anything serious, homie. You know me. I do not want you and I having to like sweat and min-max and, oh, go over there, blah, blah. No, we're going to just do stupid stuff. Like, we're going to fish or hunt or whatever the frick. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna try to make it funny. That's why Valheim worked. It was like, just kind of do whatever we want, you know what I mean? Any plans of playing horror or scary games for October? I mean, it's got to be the right game and the right time, like, you know what I mean? You know? There's 3 stages. The first is story exposition, the second is game systems tutorial, third is it really opening up. Yeah. Dumpy, you say? You know what I mean, like a character you're not really doing much with. You know what I mean? There's so many guides on New World already, the game hasn't even released yet. Well, for me, for those of you that are interested, my plans for covering New World are as follows. We're going to play it a bunch this week, and every day we're going to basically do what we used to do with the other game. We're just going to pick a topic and go. And like I'm going to have an opinion. I'm going to break a system down. I'm going to break a certain aspect of the game down. And we're going to do that every day this week. Now, that doesn't mean we won't have other gaming news going on. It's not like the gaming news cycle is just going to stop because New World came out. But that's what our goal will be, right? Just make your serious character on EU and your Lono Friday Nights character on a Lono server. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just need to throw away, you know what I mean? Gonna make a big lady in New World, you work around that. Hey, man. If you want to make some woman with a dump truck, dude, we'll figure it out. If you go on min-max YouTube guide route, you're going to burn through the content so fast. Oh, yeah. Phasmophobia would be hilarious for us. Not so much for Lono. Yeah. So that's going to be our approach to New World content. Now, we are going to have to be on high guard and caution. Anybody that comes in and thinks what we're doing is cool, we need to basically tell them, look, we're not a New World channel, you know. If we have like a spike in interest and intrigue and subs and everything else, that's great. But I'm going to constantly tell people, like, listen, please don't press sub if you're looking for a New World channel, because then you're just going to ignore me in 2 weeks when I'm not covering it, and that's not what I need. I need people that are looking for a variety gaming channel. We'll consistently cover things like New World, Battlefield. We'll always be circling back when there's a reason to. We'll be circling back when there's an impetus to cover. You know what I mean? That is going to be, you know, our approach. If anything, there'll be conveniently timed news dropping this week to coincide with the launch. I guarantee it. Yeah, maybe. So that's kind of our goal. And obviously, turnout is kind of all over the place right now. So for those of you that are here every day, we got to work on that wording. I don't really care if people are like, oh gosh, a YouTuber saying don't sub. You know me, dude. I would rather be like, listen, man, don't sub to my channel if you're looking for a New World channel. Don't do it. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to fill the coffers again with people that are going to drag the channel into the ocean and drown it because, you know, in a month they're like, well, he's not covering New World. And then I got 10,000 people crossing their arms at me. It's like, it'd be amazing. Like, oh my gosh, look at the channel growth. And then in 2 months when we're like, all right, let's start covering some other stuff. We've kind of gotten what we wanted out of New World. And then all of a sudden I'm friggin' tanking again, you know? No, thank you. I'd rather turn people off, you know, than go through that again. I wouldn't say don't sub, just say why they should sub. Yeah, right. Like, hey, if you're gonna hit sub, just be fair warned. This is a variety gaming channel. You know, you're subbing to something. You're subbing to a channel that's not a New World channel. Like, subbing for New World content's great, but that's not all I'm making here, right? That's all I'm gonna cover, right? New World release times. The game servers will unlock all over the world at different times. So for us, 8 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, and that's perfect. We're not jumping in at 8 a.m. We're not doing that. We'll jump in, you know, a few hours later, and the hope would be by the time we do that, you know, it'll be stable. You know, remember features tell, benefits sell. What? No poll today. I couldn't think of one. There was nothing to. What were we gonna ask people? We're talking Death Stranding director's cut, Sable first impressions, and Kana. Like, what was? There was no real. There wasn't really a good poll question. You know. I don't know. With no monthly sub for New World, I wonder how long it'll take it before it goes to pay to win. I've uttered my own concerns about the fact that you can, you know, you can basically get the XP boosts, you know. I've uttered my own concerns about that. Sable was buggy for me. Oh yeah, it was. Any interest in covering the new Sea of Thieves season and its content loop? The sea shrines are awesome. I had somebody say something in the Discord. I had somebody say something in the Discord about it. Can you name a random soccer player for an edit? What, like the Italian goalie Buffon? Does that work for you? I don't know. Ronaldinho? You just want random soccer names? Poll, should his wife cut his hair? Yeah. I don't don't know what to do with Sea of Thieves, Ashen. I don't. I like the game, but gee, many frick. Like, I don't know. It's hard to cover that game. Because, like, I don't know. I feel like you end up, unfortunately, having to put in so much time before you can even adequately say anything. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I don't know if I have the time to be like, yeah, let's go crack back into Sea of Thieves and see how it's playing. Like, maybe if New World wasn't going on, and, I mean, Hilly and I had such a fun time in Valheim. Like, if that wasn't going on, maybe he and I would have jumped in to check it out. Because I think it helps having a buddy, and some booze certainly helps, you know, jump back into Sea of Thieves. Because I have a very strong dislike for that game after what it did to me. Like, I'll show you on the doll where that game hurt me. Like, tried to play with Hilly multiple times, got super frustrated. I tried to play with my wife multiple times, got super frustrated. Tried to play by myself, frustrated. Tried to play by myself to do a video about the Borderlands ship, frustrated. I'm like, you know what? No. Like, I don't know. It was like, burn me 6 times, and I can't. I don't know. I feel like that game does everything in its power to just ruin your night. I don't like when I feel like I'm wrestling a game to the ground. I don't like that. If it were just griefers that I had to worry about, I think you could eat around the fat in that game. I think I could. I could eat around the fat. Like, griefers, they're not that plentiful. They show up, whatever. If that's all you had to deal with. But like, the game itself is just, I feel like it's hardwired to frustrate you. And because I know that that's what they're trying to do, I get like extra frustrated. It's like there's like an extra dose of anger. You know what I mean? I love playing it to relax, but when I see a ship, I go into survival mode. I don't like the juxtaposition. It's like I was listening to, it's like I was listening to like this relaxation video, right? It was a relaxation video. I was trying to calm down one night. I was having trouble sleeping. And then all of a sudden an advertisement played. And it was like, you want to get chicken on the go? Or something like that. And I was like, what? Like, that's what it feels like. It's like the ship's bobbing up and down. Whoosh, whoosh, spray is coming over the sides, and faint music is playing, and you hear the creaking of the boat in the wood, and the flapping of the sails. And then all of a sudden, everything turns into like an absolute stressful, awful, just battle. And I'm like, what? That's not what happened. Where'd the game go I was playing 5 minutes ago? I don't like it. I don't like it. The swing is too sharp. The swing is way too sharp. A great example is when Hilly and I played Grounded. It was like, haha, cool. We took leaves and rocks and made an axe. And then all of a sudden I'm fighting a spider the size of a school bus. And I'm like, what? What? And we're dead. Think about Valheim. Valheim was like a natural sort of, and then there was a big intense moment with the deer, but it was totally manageable. We kept getting to respawn. I don't know. It was like they created a crazy moment out of nowhere, but it was enjoyable. I don't know. It was better pacing. That clip from the guy who was playing the Pirates of the Caribbean music as they were getting attacked. Captain Look, I don't remember that. That clip alone made me want to play the game, but I would not have enjoyed it for long. Yeah. Last night I was soloing on an island, killing skeletons, getting skulls. I die, respawn on my ship, found out it got sunk by a passerby. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I don't like having everything I've worked on. Maybe it hits a little too close for home, Ashen. You know what I mean? Having everything you're working on taken from you. Maybe it's just a little too triggering, I like the sense of progress. I like the sense of, like, I did this. I got all my stuff. I'm going to take it back to port, and I'm going to turn it in, Maybe it's a little too close to home for me. Imagine writing an article complaining about a game changing, and now you can't write low quality, easy guide articles for clicks. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Eugene. So, I don't know. I think in a lot of games, that's always a problem, is they don't know how to have a natural transition from the calm to the chaotic. Do you understand? There's not a good... They don't have a good relationship. It's one or the other in Sea of Thieves. There's either sort of a calm, methodical, I'm getting stuff done, and then all of a sudden it's wham, you're in the chaos, right? Good old this guy with crap takes. Yeah, well. People, yeah. I loved the deer boss. That was a great fight. Not every game I play, I want to have a very high risk reward. The thing that I liked about it, Hilly, though, is even when we were getting sort of beat up and punished, we knew we could manage it. It was like, well, this will be slow going, but it's fun. We'll kill it eventually. Do you know? I don't know. Like, there was something about the spiders that just created a sense of foreboding defeatism, and this was like, nah, we're gonna beat this. It'll be a moment, and then it'll pass. You know? For me, I just don't want to bother people. I gotta act like everyone is an enemy. Right. Complaining that he can't do guide articles for Fortnite anymore because Fortnite changed their challenges. Oh. Well, I mean, he could compare a Fortnite streamer to a convicted, horrible, awful villain criminal, and maybe then just mimic their content and see if he can't make some money that way. You know, maybe he could do that. You know. That might be a route he could take. You know, create a vacancy in the Fortnite content, you know, creator pool, and then just snipe their content style. I mean, there's always that plan. Worked last year. The damage was at a good pace with the deer. Yeah. I wish I found out, Hilly, you can just repair. It doesn't cost anything to repair your weapons. I could have just went back and repaired the bow and made arrows. You know what I mean? I could have just went and repaired the bow and made arrows. You know, it's good, George. Yo, thank you, Silver Subaru. Ooh. I tried to get a neck pop. I felt like I didn't get a neck pop, and then I felt like there was going to be a good one to follow up, and no. Yeah, my son told me Saturday morning. That's a humble way to wake up, right? You know, you're kind of groggy, maybe slightly hungover, you're like wiping the sleep out of your eye, and your son's like, Dad, you can just repair your weapons, you moron. Dropping them on the ground like some kind of a littering bum. Come on, Dad. They call you Dan. Come on, Dan. You know? Didn't know you stream on this channel now? Yeah, I'm not sure what to do with that. Like, I don't know if I want to do shorts and, you know, over on Presents just to continually remind people, like, hey, you know, we stream over on SNTR Gaming. We've done so many videos and announcements over there, and no one cares or pays attention. You know, make a video about that game, and everybody would. You know. Yo, BGBQ with a gaming tier 1 membership. That's our first new member of the day. Thank you for that. Greatly appreciate that. We'd love to see those membership numbers continue to go in a good direction as we end this month of September, coming over here and streaming. Another coffee order. There it is. 3 orders for the day. 2 dark and a light to my man Silent Warrior. Thank you so much. So much. Clearly no one watches them. 9 videos over there say we're here. You know what the problem is with using shorts to do it? You know what the problem is, Creature? I'll tell you what the problem is. They're getting them way late. I had a guy respond to a short from months ago. So I think we need to stop doing shorts over there and maybe just do like a normal old video. You know, it's like, hey, we're live over on Presents, come hang out, you know? And then just delete the video and then go over and watch a premiere. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's no dregs. Well, I'm not going to clickbait people with that game to try to get them to click on the dadgum video. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that. Is there an issue with shorts popping up in the notifications for people? Shorts are not supposed to hit your notifications, right? They're not. They're not supposed to hit your notifications. So I think we need to stop doing shorts on that channel and literally do just like, I don't even know what we would do. Maybe that's the thing that we were talking about. Like the content piece. I'm not going to say the name of the content piece, creatures, like Kevin already. Don't say it. The content piece that we can't find a place for, that like your daughter came up with the name. What if that's what we did, but we just did that over there? We're like, thanks for watching another blah, 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 blah. And I run through everything I'm going to say very briefly. And I'm like, I'm doing this right now live over on gaming. I don't know. There might be something there. So then the video actually serves a purpose. We wouldn't have to take it down, and it would serve as the front door to the show, maybe. I don't know. There's so many channels I'm sub to, so it probably got buried. No, it's not your fault, BGBQ. I'm not mad at anybody. It's just been, I don't know. Stories don't run on that delay. We could do both. We could do a story and we could do what you're talking about. But stories don't hit noties either, so who the frick's gonna see it? I don't know. Some people are getting New World for free on Amazon pre-orders this week. When the game was announced, it was free to play, and the pre-orders of all the versions were $0. And people this week are now getting deluxe editions for free because Amazon's accounting department. That's funny. We know the number of syllables. Let's get code cracking. I think, yeah, that might help. I'd love to see more people coming over here from that channel. It'd be nice. It really would, you know. And I think a lot of them have no idea what in the frick's going on, you know. We could try that. I think we could try it. Because we could basically do a Cliff's Notes of today's show. I could be like, Death Stranding, you know, director's cut thoughts. You know, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the blah, blah. Like, if there's 3 things and each thing gets a minute, that's 3 minutes. And then I just need a 30-second intro and a 30-second outro. That's a 4-minute video of the segment that your daughter came up with. We do that. That would hit in the morning and be like, go on over. The stream will be scheduled soon. We'll see you over there. And then once we're live, I would do a story that's like, hey, we have a video that hit this channel that's a very brief summary of everything we're covering, and, you know, head on over. I don't know. It could serve as a very brief news segment, but also as like a signpost of like, head over to gaming. And then all that would hit the channel then after that would be the premiere in the afternoon, you know? And eventually, you would think, if we hit the right topic, a lot of the people that haven't watched me in ages would suddenly see a video. They'd be like, you know, maybe they're randomly looking up things about New World. They'd see the video because all of a sudden, YouTube would be like, oh, hey, yeah, you should check this video out. You know what I mean? Edit out highlights of this stream. Yeah, Kareem, we thought about that. We just don't have time for that kind of stuff. It needs to be very, very streamlined. We're managing more channels than we can barely wrangle to the ground. So I don't want to move in that direction where we're like grabbing highlights and then sending them somewhere. That's not something we're in a position to do. Just between the two of us, we're barely maintaining the channels that we have. I'm not about to add more. You know what I mean? And the channels that we're maintaining are you know, they're looking good. You know, but we can't start adding that. You know. I think something along the lines of like a, hey, here's what we're covering today, right? What are we talking about? What's the problem? Oh, no, there's no problem, Jin. We were doing shorts over on the SNTR Presents. Remember those shorts that I would do in the evening, like those little videos? And I was doing shorts over there, you know, telling people, hey, here's what we're talking about over on SNTR Gaming. And the problem is people aren't seeing them, or they see them weeks later. And so we're saying maybe we should stop doing that. It's kind of confusing people. And instead we could do a video in the morning that would basically be like a 4-minute Cliff's Notes of like, here's what's on the docket for today. And then that might start to hit some of the people's sub feed because maybe they've not watched me in 4 months because I haven't talked about the other game. But if they're watching videos about New World and I have a video hit their feed about New World, then all of a sudden, I think that's why that one day we covered the Sony thing, all of a sudden we had a ton of people here that hadn't been here in a while. Why? Well, because they were all looking for Sony coverage. They were looking for the Sony showcase, and suddenly it threw me in front of them. It was like, oh, hey, you're sub to this guy, you know. Here, he's over, you know, you're looking for Sony stuff. Bam, you know. Just thinking through how to continue to get folks over there to know what's going on. We got sparked on the conversation because a guy came in and was like, I had no idea you were streaming over here. And it's like, Jiminy freaking Christmas. We've made like 85 videos. It feels like we've made like 85 videos letting people know what's going on. So. You guys can see the list of dailies we do just between the two of us. It'd blow your hair back. Yeah, it's a lot. We're doing a lot. We're doing a lot, and it's working. It's working. But here's one of the things I've never liked about like little highlight like montage videos. Unless you're super like big and well known, most people don't care. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't care. They're like, why? You know, who is this guy? You know, but if you're like well known or you're popular, well, then it's different because people want to watch it because it's got a sense of like, it's got a sense of celebrity attached to it, if that makes sense, you know? Okay, so usually around this time, what we've been doing is, and it's really easy on days like today. We didn't really talk about Death Stranding at all. Yeah, the downloader looks really good in Steam now, Sven. They updated that like last week, I think. My thoughts on Witch Queen. And by Witch Queen, I mean that we're streaming on SNTR Gaming. Yeah. We have definitely avoided doing that, even though it would probably be pretty freaking effective. Anyway, what we've been doing around this time in the show is the show is now 3 hours long, and the reason we've been doing that is it gives us a little bit more room for gameplay and for especially with games like New World. I'm going to want to put time in, or I won't be able to break down the systems, won't be able to really do any critiques or criticisms or anything like that. So I still have my first impressions of Sable to give you, and the Kana patch. So I'm going to go over that in just a moment. My Death Stranding Director's Cut thoughts are right at the beginning of today's stream. Sable, first impressions, I'll do that. And then Kana Bridge of Spirits, the patch 1.06. I want to talk about what's in the patch, and I want to talk about sort of, how did I frame my thoughts on this? I can't remember. For Kana, we're going to talk about true difficulty and narrow boss fights. Like, one of my issues with that game is how they've established a lot of it. So I'm going to step away very, very briefly. You might see some ads. There's a ton of ways to support the channel. I don't know if a single new person has hit sub today. If you're new and you haven't hit sub and introduce yourself in chat. If you haven't smashed like, ordered coffee, checked out the Displate link, or the shirt command, do that, and I'll be right back. If you're enjoying today's stream, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell button so you don't miss the next one, and give that like button a smash. Yo, what's good, Pico? Chat's been pretty sedated today. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. We're having a hard time predicting. Like, Friday was strangely popping, and Fridays are usually really weak for us. And Mondays are usually really strong, and it kind of kickstarts the week. And yeah, not today. I don't know. I think part of the problem is when there's nothing breaking, people are like, they'll see it in their feed and be like, yeah. It's just his thoughts on Death Stranding, Sable, and a Kana patch. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's just the nature of gaming news. You know what I'm saying? There's not always going to be like a spark to bring out the debates and the fights and the arguments. There's not much here right now. It's just the dilemma. I've been racking my brain about, content creation and sort of like what no one wants to talk about the Halo beta. I didn't play it. You know what I mean? I didn't play it. I just didn't get a chance to dive in. Like for me, my passion and sort of my fuel and my fire and my fervor, what it feels like now is, instead of it being sort of like what it felt like it was before, was there was like this, there's these embers and there's these coals, and all we had to do was stoke those fires every day, and then boom, there'd be debates and discussions, and 2 hours would go by, and you know, we had debated something in that game. And now I feel like we're more like, we don't really have that thing to stoke, and then we'll get on certain subjects and the fire is there. We'll debate pricing and why I think it's okay to charge more for games, or we'll debate, you know, whatever. I'm trying to think of some of the games and some of the debates we've had recently that have been really good. And I think one of the challenges there is like, I love that, and I feel like I live, like the superhero who would win, right. And so I think that's part of the dilemma is we have like a really, really good, I think, format and audience, and like I really enjoy the live environment and live podcasting, but we don't have that central core pile of coals that we can just stoke. You know, you just kind of poke them with a poker, and all of a sudden we're in a 2 hour long debate. You're at your best when you have a subject you can deep dive into, not just skimming the surface. And we're kind of hoping that we could start to get a steady flow of games like that, like New World, you know. Deathloop being a Microsoft title. Yeah. That was fun. So yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to. Yeah, it's like you catch lightning in a bottle and you do it by accident. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like, have you ever seen those movies where they'll do like a whole sequence where like a guy, he trips and he slides and he steps in a roller skate and he flies across the street, and then all of a sudden a TV lands in his hands and he's like, what's this? And all of a sudden the TV lands on the shelf, and then it gets plugged in, and then, like, all these things happen. It's like a one of those machines where they set them up and then they push like a domino, and then like the ball rolls down, and then a bowling ball hits a book, and then the book tilts over, and then it makes this thing swing. What are those called? What are those machines called? It's like it's just a big series of events, like a big chain of events that you set up to get a desired result. Like at the very end, like it cracks an egg, right? Rube Goldberg machine, right? Rube Goldberg machine. So I feel like that's kind of like what happened. Is it was like an accidental Rube Goldberg machine. Like all these events led to a result of, hey, we get to sit here and have these passionate debates every day. And once that gets taken away, it's kind of like, well, now we're trying, is what it feels like, is we're trying to build another Rube Goldberg machine where all those things, like the opening of like Pee-wee's Playhouse. Bam, 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 bam. Anyway. And we're trying to do that, right? We're like trying to set things up in such a way as like, then those things start to happen. And it's just a lot of trial and error, and a lot of like, well, let's just see how this goes and this and that. And so, you know, we're hoping that New World will be there, but you know, I think the challenge is, I feel like we've gone through this so many times where everybody's gung-ho and excited, and we come over here and the results look great, and then every day people are like, they're just like not. You know what I'm saying? And it's so hard to know. It's like, you know, is it the news? Is it me? Is like what is it? You know what I mean? Like we've been through this so many times. Like hey guys, we're bringing gameplay, and we brought gameplay back to the main channel, and the support was there, and then in the weeks that followed, it just didn't matter. And then it was like, all right, well, I guess we got to move everything over to gaming. And like the support was there and everybody's really excited. And then it just goes like that. And I'm like, I don't know. Again, is it just the news cycle? Is it you guys? Is it me? Are we failing to get the word out in some way? It's just hard to know. It's really, really hard to know because people aren't coming and saying, you know what I mean? So we're going to see, we're going to see if New World can be that, maybe that spark to kind of get some of those things going again. You know what I mean? We need to call in so you can call in and yell at Eugene. Right. So you're starting a new channel and building a Rube Gold devices? Yeah. So. I'm here to lobby for the Valhalla server because of a dope name. We're honestly going to probably try to have to find one that's not super popular. I don't know. We're not going to want to pick a server that's going to get overrun and then all of a sudden nobody can get in. Sometimes I wonder if without that game that can be mentioned, the conversation changes too often. A game can be a platform. Right. Oh, no, it's fine. No, you're fine, Pico. You're fine. Creature says, my research will be based on population and ping. Yeah. Valhalla will be a bad call, unfortunately. That's the unofficial hardcore PvP server. Yeah, we don't want to go there. You know what I mean? That wouldn't go over well. That would not go over well. That's not what we want. I ran trials with Eugene. Can't be mean to him. We shared something. Yeah. There's a website that shows where the popular streamers are going so you can avoid it. Can I link it in chat? Are you in our Discord? Can you get us that in our Discord so we could do our research? Or maybe just tell Creature where to go to find that, and then we can do our own research. Because, yeah, we're definitely going to want to avoid the popular streamers because that's going to be an absolute just nonsense show. It's going to be so hard to get people in. We're going to want to create like a little happy, quiet home somewhere else, Olympus is Asmon. Valhalla's a large guild PvP. In Conan, you could set up your own private server. A Brazilian streamer has 1,600 people, 5 characters, or whatever guilds are called, ready to go. Jeepers. I don't even know. My goal is just to give us a place we can go and hang out and just do our thing. And if people want to PvP, they can PvP. If they want to team up and do PvE grinding, they can. We don't want to go somewhere that's going to be, jam-packed full. I don't think you can set up a private server, no. This one will have a number of streamers as well. We want to have a server that has a decent player amount. I don't think any of the servers are going to struggle to have a decent player amount. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to go somewhere that's going to be full in 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Yeah, Wheezy, tomorrow. Yeah. We need a nice mid-lane low PvP server. Right. There'll be servers that will not be hectic and crazy, but balanced and fun. Yeah. You won't be getting in at launch? What are you going to be playing? What comes out tomorrow? I mean, a Lemnis Gate comes out tomorrow. Or you got personal stuff going on, maybe. What faction you pick? I like the green one. I just because of the appearance. I don't know if it matters, but they're called companies. Yeah, I like the green company. Nothing new, already playing stuff? Okay. Yeah, I mean, green even kind of matches our logo and branding over here, so. Talking about New World? I thought you're talking about Valheim. No. Yeah, not Valheim. Mm-mm. Every server will be a sweat at first for guides and just griefing because some just want to ruin others' fun. I think we could do our own research and end up on a server where that might not be happening as much, right? You know, I think we can probably orchestrate it so that that won't be happening nearly as often. Yo, what's good, James? How are you? Come on, Syndicate. I don't even know what's the name of the green one. What's the name of the green company? Am I okay to pick up New World Friday? We would start fresh. Yeah. I don't know, Hilly. Like I was envisioning us just being like just doing nothing really, just fishing, hunting. There's got to be stuff we can work on that's going to be like low stress and fun, but I don't necessarily think that means I need to start with a brand new character. Oh, the Marauders are green. Yeah. Let's go with the Marauders. The purple was cool, but I'll roll with whatever SNTR community picks. Well, I'm definitely not picking anything that's purple. Frick that color. Frick purple, dude. No way. Gonna be a low productive week for many companies. That's right. Or getting in the same starting area was tough, even if on the same server. Hilly will probably want to knock out the first hour or two of tutorials first. Yeah, you're going to want to make a character on whatever server that I end up on and do some of the preliminary stuff, Hilly, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I imagine that that's all we would do is just go do I don't know. Make alts that you only play on when you're together streaming. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could make an alt, but again, I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm not going to be able to do that much to have an alt. You know what I'm saying? Even if we just make a little bit of progress on like a Friday night for my character, that's helpful, in the grand scheme of things, I would think that would be helpful, even if it's just something chintzy like hunting or fishing or whatever. I think I'm concerned that we're gonna have a hard time creating a chill atmosphere because I don't know if that game offers that, Lono is done with all things purple. He is no longer talking to Grimace or Darkwing Duck. Yeah. Reserve your name when the EU servers go live. Reserve my name? If you don't flag for PvP, it can be incredibly chill. Yeah, we would definitely not be flagging for PvP. That's right. I'll pick tomorrow and start playing. Okay. Yeah, we'll do our own research. We'll figure it all out. All right, let me get the Sable trailer going so that I can give you my impressions on it. Okay. It was, what's today, the 27th? So we were 30 seconds in for the Death Stranding director's cut, and I'll go at 2:35 for this one. 2:35, so that I know I'm at 4 minutes in. It's in like 20 seconds. You need complicated PvE tasks like building things where the two of you can combine your powers and make a mess. Yeah, we'll have to do some research about what could we do that's like just going to be stupid. It's not really meant to be played on controller, no. I went mouse and keyboard. It was frustrating to play controller. This is an SNTR update. Wanted to give you my first impressions of Sable, a really cool little indie title that I've been watching since the trailer came out a couple of years ago. If you like these short gaming news videos, be sure to hit subscribe and the bell button. That way you don't miss my uploads. I also stream this live on SNTR Gaming if you want to check out the main hub for our live shows. Now, I've been watching Sable since the very first footage release. I thought it was very, very captivating, and I always try to keep my eyes on promising and interesting looking indie titles. I spent a few hours with the game, and I want to give you the good, the bad, and the hopeful, because there are some people that are going to want to avoid this game or dive in, depending on your preferences. So let me just give you the good, okay? Obviously, the first thing that stands out about Sable is the art style, and while some elements of the graphical experience will be in my bad section of this video, I do think the graphics are one of the best things about this game. It's sort of one of the first things that you notice is that the graphics are very, very unique and very, very different, and it especially you can see when driving around. The progression and the experience of exploration is paced just right, I think, for good payoff when you finally get to a bigger area and you have a better bike, and I really applaud the devs. They had patience and a sense of timing with that choice, and I thought it worked out very, very well. The characters and the lore bring a sense of mystery, but also a very serious and somber tone that adds a very nice story accent, and it feels like there's a lot of importance with what you're doing. There's a lot of weight behind what's going on and what you're doing as the character. A lot of times in games like this, you're just sort of thrown into a content loop, and it's not really tethered to anything, and I feel like they did a very, very good job with the story and the lore and the sense of mystery. Now, that's all the good. Now, the bad. Now, unfortunately, much of this game was developed with a very specific art style, and the devs thought a very lower FPS, or frames per second, would serve their purposes and their aims. So the character animations are very much not in line with the 60 FPS movements if you turn the game to the 60 FPS mode. Also, I very frequently had stutters and little hitches that were very, very immersion breaking, and it was pretty disappointing because I could get over the player animations. I really, really could. 60 FPS looked beautiful. The game looked amazing. But the stutters really, really need to be worked out. And I know it's a small team, so I only mention this so that you know and have sort of your eyes wide open. If you do get the game, they are dealing with those stutters and they are trying to fix them. The lack of music is likely intentional with respect to certain timing choices, but it makes the world feel more empty and drab than it already is. It starts to, I think, it starts to chip away at my sense of wonder and exploration, and I end up feeling a little bit bored and a little bit sleepy, which is sad because I think the music is used so effectively in one particular part that I would like to just see a little bit more of it. I think the controls are fine, but they can be a little bit disconnected from the world for a few reasons. Character animations, I think, can cause some of that, but also there's just different things that don't seem to play out as they should. I'm supposed to platform up to certain areas, and it just doesn't seem to work, or I'm falling through stuff. So there is some, some clumsiness there, I think, and a lack of polish that needs to be pointed out. And again, take that with a grain of salt. It's a smaller team, and I think what they've created is truly amazing, which is why I want to end the video with why I'm hopeful about this game. I hope this game gets a strange cult love and following because they set out to do something fresh, new, and ambitious, and in my estimation, they succeeded at doing that. I would love to see this game get continued updates and polishes so that the game can run well and get more folks to dive in and experience it firsthand because it truly is a unique gaming experience. This is the type of game that I think could sort of surprise everyone with fame and acclaim and commercial success, even with the turnaround and have that be invested then in a sequel, which I think in spite of all its flaws, I would gladly welcome. So, check it out with a word of caution about some of the issues, and hopefully they can smooth out some of those rough edges because Sable is really worthy of your attention. I stream this live on SNTR Gaming, and if you're watching on SNTR Updates, hit subscribe and the bell button, and I'll see you in the next one. There you go. I really, really want this game to do well. I really, really want it to, to get that polish. I do. It's just such a bummer that they've struggled with some of those aspects, and I'd love to see them, smooth those rough edges. I wouldn't care if I didn't think the game was sort of worthy. I wouldn't care. I'd be like, yeah, it wasn't very good. But because it was good, I want to see those things happen. Oh. All right, let's go over here and let's, oops. That is the wrong, mouse. Grabbing the wrong mouse here. Let's do the Cana. Let's talk about the Cana patch. We'll go at 241. 241, which means we go to 45. Yeah, Ember looked kind of cool, Philip, and I can't remember why. I know that name. I looked at that one. This is an SNTR update. Cana Bridge of Spirits has received another patch addressing maybe even some of the issues that you or myself had with the game. I'll read through those things, but then I also want to talk about true difficulty and narrow boss fights after playing this game for quite some time. Not really finished with it yet, but did find some things about it pretty frustrating. So, if you like these short gaming news videos, like their updates, hit subscribe and the bell button. That way you can continue to get those updates. The Ember Lab notes for patch 1.06 rattle off a bunch of things. They added an ability to remap movement keys on the PC. They implemented a fix for lost karma. Some save files were missing. Karma's been corrected. There was a progression blocker in the storehouse that's been fixed. They fixed your previous saves. Progression blocker when entering the ancient well. There were also previous saves with the forge progression blocker. There was a cursed chest that was locked. They fixed that. They fixed EOS SDK error, preventing some players from launching on PC. The big thing to notice was that they fixed, or they said, the parry counter attack is now easier to perform. Now, it's been my opinion that this game has random input bugs. It's not input delay or input lag. It's just, it randomly doesn't respond to your inputs. I go to do the parry, and she just stands there. Go to do the dodge, and she just stands there. I've even run up to the enemy, held down right trigger to get ready to do the big hammer, and she just stands there. We're not sure what the issue is. I've got two different controllers, both of them recently updated, and they both seemingly had these problems, and it was a bit frustrating. Now, I don't know if when they say they're making the parry window easier, is that them sort of punting because they don't know what the real issue is, and this should gloss over it. Are people not experiencing this because they're just setting the difficulty to story, because that's largely the type of audience that would have been attracted to this game. Those of us that play games like Dark Souls, Ghost of Tsushima, and other really challenging melee games, maybe we're the ones picking up on the input problems more than others, because it's not being talked about as much, which is interesting. I'm experienced enough in these games to know something weird is going on. So let's talk about true difficulty. My frustration with Cana's version of difficulty is that it didn't feel difficult, it felt cheap. Constantly taking damage because the parry or the dodge seemingly just didn't respond was, I think, infuriating. I find it odd that they say they're making it easier to perform the parry counter, because from my testing and experimenting with it, it wasn't about it being too difficult, but it was just very, very inconsistent. We consistently saw strange input lag, input delay, whatever you want to call it. We saw those and they seemingly made no sense. I'd be standing completely still and she would simply not respond to the inputs that I was pressing. It wasn't like I dodged late and got hit, or tried to parry late and like the animation didn't have time to come up. It was as if I didn't press a button at all. And I found that to be incredibly frustrating, and hopefully they can figure out those issues, because it is a beautiful game and I'd love to finish it. Lastly, I want to talk about narrow boss fights. I like boss fights with mechanics, so a narrow boss fight isn't really a problem. But when you diverge from very specific mechanics that they would like you to use, and extra work is required, that should be expected, right? I'm not taking the weak spots. I'm not taking what would be considered the optimum approach, right? It gets compounded by the input issues. I ran into that problem in the first fight with the guy who's you're trying to find because of his siblings. I think his name was Taro. Now, once I was essentially given the best strategy for that fight, I started to see what the developers were going for, and I actually liked it. I thought, okay, this is good. It was a little bit unclear, and it wouldn't have been as frustrating if the input issues wouldn't have been happening. I really want to dive back into the game when I have time to complete it and test out some of the parrying things, see if maybe some of the input issues have been addressed or fixed, and maybe it's just easier now to parry, but I, for one, worry that it's more than just a narrow window for parry, but an actual input problem, some sort of a bug in the game that affects everything, both dodging, attacking, and parrying, and many people, for whatever reason, are not talking about it. As always, if you like these short gaming news videos, hit subscribe and the bell button, and I'll see you in the next one. So, yeah, that's my thought on the Kana issue. It's like, I'd love to finish the game. I'd love to dive back in, but I don't know. There is something amiss. There is something amiss, and I don't think it was just as simple as like, well, the parry window is easier now. You know, I'm still getting entire system hitches on my wife's rig that I'm playing games on, and I've lowered the polling on the mouse. Like, I don't know what else could be causing all of Windows to just like it just like stops and freezes, and I really don't know what it could be. It is so bizarre. It's not even letting me safely remove this hardware. Oh, there it is. Eject that expansion. Now it's safe to remove it. Okay. I don't know if that would be it, like a USB device plugged in. It's like the whole thing just shuts down. Can I turn this off? Unpin from start. Yeah, explore. We don't need that. Unpin from start. Unpin from start. Is it the Xbox console companion maybe running in the background? I don't know. It's so hard to know. Sounds like a hardware issue. You did a lot of research to come to that conclusion. With respect, people always say that, and it's always like not an insult to your intelligence. It's just ignorant. Like, how could that be a hardware issue? Windows is just randomly hitching. Like that doesn't, like, a hardware issue would be the game, randomly crashing or random performance. Like, the whole system's just like, and then it lets go, and then it's totally fine. It's super, super weird. I don't know. It just always happens. You talk about problems with your computer and people are like, well, it's probably this. And it's like, that doesn't even make any sense. With all of the nonsense that Windows runs in the background, it's so hard to be like, it's so hard to ever conclude that it's anything other than just Windows being Windows. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know, I've got Wi-Fi off. I've got Bluetooth off. I've got the game mode turned off. I don't know. It's so weird. It's always been this way too with just this rig. I don't know. It's like something it's like HP maybe because it's an HP system. Maybe they've got something running in the background. I don't know. It's a hardware issue because I've said so. Yeah. Hardware issues usually cause way worse problems than just random system-wide hitches. Check your task manager. Yeah, like, I don't know. You know? I don't know what's running. You know? At startup, I got Cortana disabled. Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing that really even boots up. Realtek WoW utility, like that can't. That's not it. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Sounds like a malware issue. I'll send you a link. Yeah, I've got OneDrive disabled. I've got it's almost nothing turns on at start when the system boots up. Almost nothing. It's so bizarre. We could try closing Chrome. You know, we know Chrome has its persnickety. You know what I'm saying? It's persnickety. It's a memory hog, you know. So it could be Chrome, you know. HP Touchpoint Analytics Client, like I don't know what that is. I don't know. So we can see if that doesn't help. We can see if that doesn't help because boy oh boy is it frustrating, especially in a game like Death Stranding. You're in like this really cool cutscene, this really cool moment. All of a sudden it's just like and the whole thing just sits and freezes. And it's like, it's not the PlayStation 5. It's not OBS. It's literally the actual gaming rig that we're running OBS on and the capture on, just like freezing for no reason. Put it on higher power in case the CPU is boosting off and on. I feel like we checked this before. Like the power settings, I feel like we did. Yeah, that's in system, power and sleep, additional power settings. It's on high performance. Favors performance but may use more energy. Yeah. Turn off display about 2 hours. Put the computer to sleep to never. Advanced power settings, you know, I don't know. Oh, hard disk. Turn off the hard disk after 20 minutes. Maybe that's what it's doing. Maybe it's the hard drive, like, literally spinning back up or something. I don't know. I don't know what else it would be, you know? I was happy with Windows XP. I know. I don't think. Could be the system paging system. Right, you know, the paging file or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. You don't want a hard drive just on all the time, do you? You know what I'm saying? Hey, somebody ordered some coffee 4 minutes ago. A bag of light roast to Astro Candy. Thank you. Do you have AMD or Intel? The high power is not good for AMD. Oh, shoot. I don't know what's in this thing. So we got it for my wife. It's an Intel. Yeah, it's an Intel Core 9700. Yeah. I would imagine it would be good. Is an SSD hard drive? I think like the main drive is not. The drive that like Windows on is not. And then all the other drives are SSDs or NVMEs or something. I just wonder if that's what it is. Turn the hard disk off after 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden it's cycling back up. I don't know. You'd have to see how often it happens and when, because it's so unpredictable. I'll play a game for 2.5 hours. The other day I played Death Stranding for 2.5 hours. It only happened once. Just one random system-wide hitch. You know what I mean? The paging file could be set up to the main drive. Yeah, I forget where that's set up. I could see where it is. SS drives don't spin up. Well, it could be the main drive, though, right? System. Where is that? Where do you set the page? Is it in storage? It's in storage, isn't it? And then it's like... It's like a system advanced settings. Yeah, I don't know where it is though. I forget where you manage this. And I could just see, because it's probably running the paging file on the main drive. Need to use old control panel for it? Oh gosh. I always forget how to get there. There's a way to get to like the old control panel. Background lock, stream color system. Windows key and type in control panel. Here we go. Control panel. I'm not even seeing it. Hardware and sound. Yeah, I don't even know where to change this. I don't even know where to change this. Show us your IP address and we can tell you, right? If hardware comes up, you look frightened. Oh, I hate this kind of stuff. I really, really do. Manage storage spaces system. Yeah, is it in system? No, that's not it. Click system. From the left pane, go to advanced system settings. On the system parity, you use advanced tab settings. Okay, so from the desktop screen, click system. From the left pane, system window, click advanced settings. I don't even know how to... Okay, system. Advanced system settings. Okay, here we are. Click on performance. Click on advanced. Yeah, here it is. Total paging file size is 284 meg is what it's telling me. 284 meg, and it looks like it's doing it on the main drive. Yeah. Yeah. So it says automatically manage paging file sizes for all drives, and so it looks to me like it's doing it on where Windows is installed. And that might be why, because that drive is yeah. Yeah, it's system managed. System and security. Yeah, I'm in. I don't even know what we would do. Custom size on the D drive. Or we could do system managed on the D drive and take it off of the Windows drive. No paging file. Yeah, it says if you disable the paging file or set the initial size to less than 1 megabytes and a system error occurs, Windows might not be able to record the details. But that's fine because we're moving the paging file to the D drive. Did you ask her why she sent that to me? Okay. Yes, overwrite that. Okay. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to restart the computer. Yeah, I just set the paging file to be automatic on the non-Windows drive. Is it that I don't think you're ever even I know that. I'm not a tech head, but even I know the paging, you want the paging file to be not on the operating system drive, right? I don't know. Just start by turning off that hard drive feature. Yeah, but I don't know if you want the hard drive on all the time. That doesn't sound right to me. All right, we're back up. That was a pretty quick restart. Oh, I've not scheduled the next stream. Dadgummit. All right, give me a second. Go live. And then reuse that. And then I have a new thumbnail. I thought this thumbnail was funny. It's like Norman Reedus, like cheesing with sunglasses on. Okay. Let's go. And go. And we'll make it public and go. Okay. OBS. Run as administrator. Yes. Okay, let's make sure nothing else open that we don't need open. Yeah, we don't need Steam to be open, not while we're playing this. Okay. All right. Okay. Death Stranding scheduled stream. And we're going to redirect to it. Looks like it didn't save my thumbnail. It's a battery saving feature, so I guess it's fine. We'll see if changing the page file fixes this. I don't want to go in and change a power setting that has the hard drive running all the time. That doesn't seem like a good idea. If they have it on high power and in their mind, that is still there as a saving feature. They're fine running all the time if they're cooled. I don't know. I just don't like the idea of it. It just feels weird. All right, let me get you guys a hyperlink of where we're going. Share that. That's where we're going. I'm gonna go and make sure it's a featured video too on the main channel. We might want to start doing that. For returning subscribers, I can feature a video that's over here, and we'll see if it doesn't help a little bit. Okay. Nothing worse than seedless grapes that are not seedless. It's just like so, like, ugh. All right, there's over 200 people here. I'd love it if you come over and ride the redirect. It should bring you with us. If it doesn't bring you with us, just click the link in chat. We are going to play more Death Stranding for one particular reason. Mainly because we didn't really get into the content loop last week. We only got through the intro. All right? So, it's super helpful to us when you guys come with us, when we play different games, and we appreciate you guys watching a variety of content, watching all the different stuff, and yeah. We'll see you guys over there, and wait, let me do this. What's the button? And there we go. Yeah, this is what we're playing. We're gonna wake up Norman Reedus, and then we're gonna try some Death Stranding to see what the content loop looks like now that we're kind of out of the intro. All right, I'll see you guys over there.